Got a lot of fans out there, you can tell. Now, Sandro Bellio before has been in the 540s, however, not yet this weekend. As of now, he's not had a clean run down at the racetrack, actually. He ran a best of, I think he's the number 5 qualifier, yeah. Jürgen Nagel with the other funny car in the Autoglym lane out-qualified him.
Only 100th of a second, but it does make a difference, obviously, to the qualifying.
Well, the thing is, though, Sandro has all the tools beneath him to, or on board to run much quicker than that. Much quicker than that.
584 against a 585. Sandro, I've been down in the 5.4, 5.8, 5.5, 5.4.
And Jürgen Nagel's been down into the 5.7. He's nearly there again this weekend, which must be pleasing. So based on qualifying times, Jürgen Nagel will be the very slight advantage. However, previous form, I know the Bellio family have got aspirations on a European level this season. They're doing all around. Based on what's happened before, Sandro's got a very good chance of winning everything. However, he needs to get it right with this racetrack. So Sandro Bellio from Belgium in the qualifier lane. Jürgen Nagel in the Autoglym lane. Jürgen Nagel takes the win with a 5.81, 237 miles an hour. He was off the start line much quicker than Sandro Bellio anyway. Sandro with a .26, a 0.9 for Jürgen. A really nice strong run for the Classic A Motor Oil team. Unfortunately for Sandro, big tyre shake around about 100 foot out, and that was his weekend done. However, with the reaction time difference, he would have had to run a 5.61 to have taken the win. So, two funny cars side by side in round one. It is Germany moving on through, and the winner of, they get. The winner of that one gets Dennis, so it will be Jürgen Nagel against Dennis Habermann in round two.
Oh yeah, that's, we'll assume that Dennis is going to take his solo. Absolutely no problem whatsoever. All he needs to do is break the beams under his own power.
Right, two long cars underneath the tower now. Johnny Lag with the A-Fueler and Rod Harrison. I just had a very quick chat with Carl, and he said, yeah, quite relaxed this weekend, not too much work to do. That's only because he normally works 23 hours a day. Probably cut it back to 22 and a half. Woo, woo, woo. So Johnny Lag in the 540s more often than not in qualifying. He went 5.41 personal best to qualify in the number 3 spot. Yeah, well done to the Classic A Motor Oil team. So yeah, Johnny Lag in the coal-fire lane from Sweden with the A-Fuel car. Chris Johansson, the whole team, they know what they're doing with this thing. Rod Harrison with the supercharged dragster in the Autoglym lane. Hasn't had a clean run down the racetrack, like you said, Colin. Last run yesterday was much better. However, he rolled the beam.
Totally rolled. Didn't even get anything out of that. So the only data that they would have would be from the race pack on board.
gives the little bit of motivation to his dad. Not that he probably needs it, to be honest with you. That's wife Kim out front, directing Rod into stage. I like the way she films it, make sure he's put it in the right place.
Yeah.
Place in the semi-finals beckons. Sweden or the UK? Well, Johnny Lagg's out there in front and he's going to take the strike. 5:42 and a 5:80 for the Harrisons. They're still very happy with that indeed. Well done, team. A really, really strong run though for Johnny Lagg. 5:42 at 2:59, one of his quickest of the weekend. They were both pretty good on the tree as well. An 0.5 for Johnny Lagg, which in an A fuel car is no slouch. An 0.8 for Rod. Give Krista and the team a cheer, folks. Johnny Lagg is into the semi-finals. Really, really nice run as well. That car's stubbornly resisting going back in the 5.3s again.
Yeah, certainly best run of the weekend for the Harrison family as well, back into the 5s.
241 as well, yeah.
Very, very good speed. Rod has actually been 250 plus, and he shut it off at about the peak of his absolute flyover run. He did 5.5 seconds up the ball. That was last year.
So, Dennis against Mickey.
So, Timo qualified in the number 2 slot, Mickey Larson.
Well, Mickey Larson only been actually taking a green light once this weekend. Fortunately, that got him in the show. This is the first race you're going to see the handicap. The funny cars get 0.22. That's changed. It was 2.25, wasn't it, last year? Anyway, 0.22 of a second head start over the Dragsters. First to the finish line win. Comp eliminator with superchargers.
Yeah.
So Mickey's been down into the 5s on a few occasions, just obviously not this weekend, unfortunately, with the funny car from Sweden. Timo was the most consistent of the brothers, but not the quickest. I saw Werner down here, his dad actually, pacing around on the start line for a long, long while before this run. Checking out what the top fuel cars did, and the Pro Mods did. Just to see what to put in it, I think. He looks happy. So, funny car's going to go first. Dragster's going to try and run him down. Based on qualifying form, this is all about Timo, but racing is always different.
Who's it going to be? I think Timo's just about to steal it.
Whoa! Who would have thought a 680 at 236 would have won that? Timo with a bit of tyre shake off the start line, but he was off like a rocket. He actually managed, even with the staggered start, he even managed to leave before Michael Larson. Actually, Michael Larson got a 0.22 of a second ET on the tree, but Timo still went first. 0.89 to 60 foot, but it was shaking like a bandit. And Timo shut it off because he thought that was it. However, he didn't see Mickey out the window. Unbelievable. I said the weirdness continues all the way through. At least it's given us some entertaining racing nonetheless. Who was in front at half track? It looked like Mickey might have been actually in front, or they were almost dead even at half track.
Yeah, no, Timo, because of the reaction, Timo was still in front.
But the quicker to the 8th was Mickey Larson.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we've got our pairings now. Timo is going to take on Johnny Lagg, who's been on a rail all weekend. Going to be going, and Dennis is taking on Jürgen Nagel.
Yeah, just Dennis to put your solo in. only 7 cars qualified. Number 1 qualifier does get the bye run, and this, of course, was Dennis Hadman. Went 5.32 to take that number 1 spot. And assuming he takes the Green Hill race, Jürgen Nagel in round 2.
The new track is giving a few people, well, they're all enjoying it, let's put it that way. However, it's given them the odd headache when it comes to tuning for it as well. One of Europe's, if not the world's, most experienced tuners with alcohol engines is Werner Habermann, backing his son up out there. And a 0.89 60 foot is pretty good, but Timo was shaking before he got there. So Dennis, we're going to see what the racetrack can take. I'm not sure whether he's going to run it all the way through. He might just want to punch second gear, provided he gets that far. They will save it for the semi-finals. He's going to race Jürgen Nagel with the funny car. And like Dennis said in pre-race, he wants to try and go 520s this weekend. Pedal for shake. 5. Look at the speed. 274 miles an hour with a pedal. That was fabulous. 0.91 to 60 foot, 352 at 218 to the 8, 530 at a massive speed for an alcohol car. 274 miles an hour. When they actually get that tuned so it goes from A to B without any shake or a pedal, that was just incredible. That was instant, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was almost like, I know it's not, I know it's Dennis doing it, but it's just like a computer doing it. It just goes on and off instantly.
Right, FIA Pro Stock round 1, in effect, semi-final. I just had a message from one of my very, very good friends, Phil. He's enjoying life on the banking near the finish line. Good afternoon to you, Phil. Enjoy the day here.
As we welcome back Bjorn again. I can't help saying that. It's definitely a short kind of weekend, isn't it?
I thought it was dress code.
We've
always been
although Colin's missing out, I think.
We've always been looking at Pippi and learned something from him, and also Stefan Bowman, of course. I think it's comfortable.
First up, and numbers 2 and 3 qualify. Like I said, this is the semi-finals, or Colin said, semi-finals for FIA Pro Stock. To say they're all a bit even this weekend is an understatement, isn't it? They're very, very even.
They are. Only 200ths of a second between these two cars.
So 2000s, they both went 666, according to the list. Sorry, Bjorn. I apologise. I'm only going. No. I'm only going by the. I'm only going by that. Not that I apologise. Sorry. Anyway, there's nothing between them. And Stefan Enrid with the Dodge in the cold fire lane. Michael Malmgren in the auto glim lane. Now, Michael isn't normally known as the quickest lever in Pro Stock, but he does have a habit of pulling it out when he needs to.
Yeah, he has. And also with Stefan, he had some small problems to sort out, but trying to hold the car back a little bit.
Reaction time advantage to Stefan Enrid. They're absolutely neck and neck all the way through.
Yes, yeah.
It's the Dodge, 660 at 210, the quickest and fastest run of the weekend. Mike Malmgren with a real good try at 668, 207. They were both good on the tree as well.
Good on the tree, and also good speed for Stefan, 210.
What was nice to see as well, no tyre shake. Nice, smooth, fairly straight runs for both of them.
What he had the records from Tierp, and he didn't dare trying to go for what they did here during the finals, because he thought that the comparison was between two tracks based on concrete.
Yeah.
And then he figured out, he realized he was too aggressive with the chassis setting.
Ah, okay.
Okay, and also Bengt Ljungdahl, he has had a couple of gremlins to sort out in that car, and finally he found out something. Problem with the trans brake, and he actually had a very tiny load of brake on the front disc brake. So
Really?
yeah, it
What,
slowed
all
him
the way
down.
down?
It did hurt the 60-foot clocking, of course, and then car managed, but
I was there last night with the Williams brothers fixing that car last night. We put a new line lock on it at midnight.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
because
Oh dear,
when they let it
unfortunately-
go, it released. It didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't release. So that's
Shoot.
sorted out.
Tuned by Colin is not something
No,
you
no,
ever want.
no. I was watching. It was the Williams brothers, Dan and Nick, that were doing the work.
Up against Robin Arend. Now, Robin, personal best yesterday, 6.71. He did mention he got a Grey Motorsports engine under the hood of the GTO.
Both of them are trusting Grace Motorsports.
Wow.
Of course, Bengt with almost a direct line. Robin and his father actually bought the car. Is a KB car from the beginning, driven by Jason and Greg Anderson. It was built rather big inside to be able to fit them both drivers.
That's good for Robin.
And also, Robin is quite a tall
Very tall.
guy. Yeah. The engine came a couple of years later after they bought the car, and it isn't bought directly from Grey Motorsports, but still it has been well taken care of. So.
Oh my goodness me! Bengt
wow.
Ljungdahl goes red. It will be Robin Arend in the final for the first time ever.
Oh yes.
6.65, ladies and gentlemen. Put your hands together for him.
New PB.
206 miles an hour.
Yeah, new PB, but they are right on their plan actually, because they know what they can hope from that car, what the performance could be.
Yeah.
But they won't try too hard. I mean, they do have a progress plan, and they are following it very strictly. So,
Well,
and this
they're
was
in the
probably in the
final
plan.
against Stefan.
Good.
Two drivers. Well, he's never been to the final before.
No.
I don't. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not entirely sure he's even been out of round one before, Robin. Maybe
Most
not.
of the times, yeah. Well,
maybe, maybe not. Well, anyway, congratulations to the whole team. Commiserations to Bengt Ljungdahl. At least he's given the rest of the field a bit of hope this year. That even the best.
Yeah, I mean,
go
it was
red.
all about reaction time, but maybe also keen on getting off the line quickly, and was a little bit, I don't know what the reaction
It was
was.
quite a big red light. It was
Okay, yeah.
0.18.
Ah, okay.
But Robin was really, really good though. A 9.7 60 foot to the 8th mile in 4.27. That was a great run. Really good run. He's in the final.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you, Bjorn.
Right, into the pairing lanes, please. Can I have the two jet cars? Can I have Firestorm and Fire Force 3? And from the sportsman classes, Pro ET, please, into the pairing lanes. Pro ET, can we have you into the pairing lanes? All right, Steve Warner taking yet another passenger down the quarter mile. They're about 7.8, 7.9 seconds.
Takes it through to 7.85, 1.71. Give the Narend team a cheer, please, folks. Robin is to his first ever final, and what a way to do it, beating the defending European champ. Outstanding stuff. Okay, talking of outstanding, Mr. King, good morning. Sorry, good
morning.
afternoon, actually.
Yeah,
It's now
good
about
afternoon.
lunchtime, isn't it? Well, obviously, you very kindly came up last year. I was surprised to see you up here this time, because obviously Phil was riding your old bike, but like you said, not...
Bit of a spare part.
Bit of a spare parts at the moment. Well, you're not up here.
No, I mean, we've
Never
got
spare.
my team still crewing the bike as before, and obviously when I was riding, I didn't have a role in crewing the bike, so now all I do is all the outside stuff, and my very competent crew are doing the jobs that they've always done.
Yeah, I mean, we'll come to Phil in a minute. We'll come to that in a minute when we get to Top Fuel Bike, because obviously we got round one of all the FIM classes. Underneath us are the Super Twins, and they've been really good again this weekend. Got to say, well, great to see Mark de Boer from Belgium in the coal-fire lane. Do you know whether that's a new bike to him, or...?
It's reasonably new. I mean, it's the other thing that's different about that bike, as you probably know, it's technically not a Top Fuel Super Twin. It's what they call a Pro Fuel bike, so it runs a carburettor rather than the injection systems all the other bikes do. In America, it would run in its own class, which is a very popular class. but ultimately they sort of run generally in the 7s to very high 6s, but that's quite unusual. So he's doing a good job.
He is. His first weekend in FIM competition, and he qualified, which is saying something, up against number 1 qualifier, Marcus Christensen. What can we say about that machine? That's home engineering at its finest, that is, isn't it?
Yeah, he's done a great job. I mean, there's lots of neat little things on that. I mean, even the starter that you can see from here, I mean, you can see there's no wires.
Oh, yeah. Nothing at all.
No. So it intrigued us till we went up and we found out that they've had a battery made by a company that provides or manufactures batteries for electric bikes and things like that. And it puts out something like 2,000 amps for 5 seconds, so good enough to kick a huge V-twin engine over. Yeah, amazing.
So it's not just the riding, not just the riding position,
everything.
it's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's one good thing, a real good thing about bike racing anyway. It really is all about people's own engineering ideas, and that's definitely one of them, with the placement of himself, the engine, all the rest of it. There's not much conventional on there, is there, really?
No, and you know, when that bike first appeared on the scene, there was a lot of sort of puzzled, quizzical looks from people, and people, I would have to say, laughing. In some cases, they're not laughing now, you know.
6:42. Yeah, it's nice to see them making strides, and probably also they're going to be racing against Martin de Haas.
Yes.
Now, that's going to be a close race. They were very close in qualifying.
Yeah.
But Martin is used to being at the top, and he's a little bit away from there at the moment.
Yeah, it's probably a slightly unusual position for him to find himself in now. He's always been very consistent and very quick. I think that's the thing, consistency as well, you know, with that team. They know the bike very well, they've got it down to good numbers, and they're very hard to beat on their day.
They really, really are. Just looking out there on the track, if you notice, it's warming up, which is maybe one of the reasons we had a little issue yesterday, obviously with the track being warm and with the amount of rain that we've had, just the odd weeper or something like that. I think that's just what they're checking for out there on the quarter mile, but I'm sure we'll be ready to go very shortly. It won't take too long. The other couple of machines, while we got some quiet time, it's nice to introduce them as well, is see them over there. Both, well, first of all, we'll start with Alan Davis.
Yep.
Now, that bike is 20 years old?
Yeah.
It was born
at
sort of
least,
20
yeah.
years old, or conceived 20 years ago.
It was, yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, it was around 1999.
Is it that it was built by the Brackvogels? Is that right?
It was built by Pete Davis,
sorry,
and
apologies.
Frank Brackvogel,
Okay.
effectively, for Adam Hewitt. And Adam had a good sponsor behind him at the time, WW Cycles in Germany, and as you know, he'd sort of won the European Championship on his ex-Fur Southern Rock 2 bike. But it never really saw the light of day because Adam was taken elsewhere due to work circumstances and other personal issues.
Where's the bike been for that period of time?
It's been in Frank's garage most of the time.
Okay.
And they'd been threatening to bring it out, and originally Phil, Frank's brother, was going to ride it, and actually did some shakedowns with it, while still owned by Adam. But again, it never really went anywhere. But then the interesting thing was, over the last few years, Alan Davis, who's the son of Pete Davis, the founder of Puma, he got into motorcycle racing via his son, I think.
Yep.
I think his son was doing junior drag bike first, and Alan came along and started getting into it himself, and it sort of found a natural home with him. So he made a deal, bought the bike, and
Here we
now
are.
it's a Davis bike again.
So
The
current.
sort of, yeah, I mean, performance-wise, the Harley's running the big engines now that they do, the 3200cc engines. That's a 1700cc blown bike, and it will struggle as others do, because blown bikes are very interesting, but also can be quite temperamental.
They all can be temperamental, though, to be completely
Sure.
fair. But it's good to see Alan out on the
Yeah.
bike as well. I think he's racing. Is he racing Neil Midgley as well? Just to make life more interesting. Anyway, our first bet up, we were talking about him just a minute ago. Marcus Christensen with that terrific looking. I always call it a Pro Stock Super Twin because it looks like a Buell, doesn't it? It looks
It's got
like
a Buell fairing on it, I believe.
Yeah, it does look like, and the very sort of sit-up position that he rides, he says it's easier to ride like that, so who are we to argue? So this is first round FIM Super Twin. Nitro burning machines, but on two wheels this time. Mark van der Boer, the route racer from Belgium, definitely the underdog in this one. He's in the coal-fire lane. Marcus Christensen, your number one qualifier, who ran a personal best by a tenth of a second in the automobile lane. So far, that bike has been straight, very undramatic, but very quick.
Yeah.
That didn't sound that quick, but it still went 6:45, 223 miles an hour. Big speed as well. Well, everybody's going to be building Pro Stock Super Twins after this, I think, to be honest. Wow, way to go. Mark de Boer, well, I was going to say nearly left before the tree was activated. Virtually did, 0.36 of a red. He knew he had to try something to put Marcus off. But the thing is, sort of said, it looks, the 60 foot as well, though, only 1.14, and he still goes out and runs that kind of ET.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's comparatively slow is what we're getting at.
Yeah, I mean, when you think they can be running down in the 102 zone generally. So, yeah.
Well, two bikes from the Netherlands, one guy from Norway, one guy
From Holland.
from Holland, yeah. The Zodiac Machines, the Pels family. Ronnie Olsen taking on Martin de Haas, the Haas brothers twins. While they were, as a rider, does that ever put you off, the fact someone's that far ahead of you with their routine? Or obviously you probably never let that happen.
It can do. I mean, if it happens at the start of your career, you get all flustered and rush and try and do things. After a while, you realise just take your time, do your own thing, and get to the line.
So Ronnie Olsen with the supercharged Super Twin. Yeah, Martin will be fine. Now he rides this bike very much like Larry McBride, if I may say so. I mean, you raced against Larry, so you know better than anyone. but he's really all over the place with the way he rides it to keep it in a straight line. And not a lot of riders do that. They tend to like to try and stay quite calm.
It's just different styles. I mean, I like to use my feet and push on the foot pegs to move the bike around. Other people like to move the top half of their body around, and some people are natural fidgets.
We'll call him a natural fidget then, shall we?
No, he's doing it on purpose, of course, but
and he's very good at it.
yes, absolutely.
Oh, big bang for Martin de Haas. Ronnie Olsen clicks it early. 6:38, 198 miles an hour. I'd say the issues were solved.
Looks like it. Fantastic.
He still clicked it that little bit early. Yeah. I'm glad I'm not the top end to interview him, because he always F's at me when I tell him he's run quick, but there we are. But real big congratulations to them. Big commiserations as well to Martin and Jerry de Haas. Not what you want to see, unfortunately. No. And with the way that V-twins run too, there was a pop from one of the cylinders. He's obviously absolutely okay because he's standing off the bike. But again, if you don't mind, bit of a technical explanation, because when they explode the cylinders on a V-twin, obviously they're right underneath you, underneath your rib cage, underneath all your bits. Why is it the rear cylinder that almost always lets go?
It's the way in which it's a combination of things. With, for example, with the firing order, they have a very uneven firing order because they're 45. Most of them are 45-degree twins, and also the rear cylinder tends to, how can I do it? Struggle a little bit more with burning the fuel because of its positioning and the way the phasing of the engine and the induction system. So. Generally, that is the one to go, and unfortunately, that's also the one that tends to be the one that injures the rider when they pop off the top.
Well, yeah, I mean, pop is a very polite version. When they go bang, it does have a tendency to take the frame and potentially the person with
unfortunately, you know, until a number of years ago, there were as the bikes were stepping up in performance. The engines were getting bigger. Obviously, there's much more fuel going through them. If you lose fire, then you have a cylinder full of liquid. As you probably know from your physics lessons at school, if you went to school, Darren, there was very little chance of compressing fluids. So as the piston came up, of course, it just pushed this solid block of fluid and used to pop the top off. With unfortunately tragic results in a number of cases. So after that...
Well, hence they wore bomb jackets. They actually wore...
Well, they wear now ballistic jackets. There are Kevlar straps holding the cylinder heads on, and special mechanisms for bolting together. But unfortunately, even then, there can be some, problems.
Some unfortunates. Well, I mean, it does amaze me as well with the, like you said, with the straps to restrain them. Even that. I mean, the straps doesn't contain the force. The frame, which is chromoly steel, doesn't contain the force. It's just quite unbelievable the amount of force going through them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we all know about nitromethane and what happens, but of course in this case it's strange because it's not actually burning. That's the whole point. So it is physically, the piston moving up and meeting a wall effectively. Pushing
liquid.
The head,
and that's what does it.
Generally,
well, it looks like obviously Martin's rolling up there with the quad, and a couple of sweeps from just to make sure there's no bits and bobs all over the racetrack. A very unfortunate start to their FIM campaign, and around the back of the tower we've got the next pair lining up, both from the UK, both with supercharged super twins. And very interestingly, we've just been through the story of Alan Davis's bike, an equally interesting lifespan story, if you like, or of evolution of Chris Hannam's machine, ridden by Neil Midgley.
Yes. So originally... double overhead cam, Harleys didn't exist. And basically Rob built that, and there were a number of other bikes with those engines that he was involved in. So that was the trick thing. And actually that also was the grounding for the sort of engines that Jaska Salikari runs now as well. So I think he originally had one of those engines, something similar, and he sort of developed his concept on from that original concept as well.
And then builds 10 of them to see which one works.
Yeah.
Something like that anyway.
Yeah.
But one thing I'd really like to ask is how come, I've always been curious about this, we seem to be much more at the forefront of development with bikes like this than they do in the States?
Well, one of the things is, you know, drag racing is an American sport, of course, we all know. But the other thing is most of the tuning parts are made in America, particularly for Harleys or V-twins. And it's expensive to buy them and bring them over from America.
Right, bit of an update for you. That run at 6:38 is first leg of a new European record.
Cool.
Sven Olaf Rolstad holds the record at 6.40.
Still, this is how unpredictable they are actually, because there's a number of bikes and riders that have been quicker than that and never backed it up.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we've got two halves of other records here at the moment this weekend in Top Fuel Bike as well, and obviously it'll be interesting to see if they get picked up or not. I've been on the end of a number of weekends where I had half of both records and never made it with the other one, so
104 to 60 for Neil. This is a flyer. 6:58, only 170 miles an hour. 7:92. Nice try for Alan Davis. 104 to 60. That's more than all right. Thought he'd be slightly happier with that bit anyway. But if Midjo takes that all the way through, he was 4:09 to the 8th as well, which is stout numbers, isn't it?
yes, for a twin,
Yeah,
absolutely.
very, very good indeed. Yeah, sorry, Ian.
No, but out of necessity, I mean, a lot of the guys in Europe, had to make their own parts because they couldn't afford to buy them from America and bring them over. And also there is a history of, I would say, mechanical excellence in Europe, across Europe, and people do like to try things.
Well, one that's trying things a lot. From Norway, Hans Olav Olsen, another bike that was born in the Netherlands.
Yeah, that was built originally by Gerard Willemse, my ex-partner at Puma, and but he never rode it, he never finished it, and in the end Hans Olav negotiated with him to finish it off and buy the whole bike off him, which he did. Hans Olav himself has actually made some changes to it, beefed up certain parts that were needing a little bit more attention, and doing a great job with it.
So that's Hans Olav from Norway in the Auto Glimmer. Great to see him back against Gert-Jan de Soor from the Netherlands. The bike that Gert-Jan's on was built by Johnny Vickers in the US and has all the good stuff on it to go well into the sixes. Gert-Jan heads for the wall. Hans Olav heads for the finish line. 6:53 at 2:20. Absolutely outstanding performances. Just to give you an indication as well, he was 0.3 of a second slower than Neil Midgley to the 8th mile. 0.3. And still went 6:53. I mean, 2:20 as well is a very, very good speed for a twin. Gert-Jan de Soor went out towards the wall. Your pairings for the semis: Marcus Christensen against Ronnie Hudson. My goodness, that's a doozy. And Neil Midgley against Hans Olav, who, well, they both went 6:50s. The other two went 6:4 and 6:3. Yeah. So as long as they could do that on the track at the same time in opposing lanes, that would be superb, won't it? Some of the best Super Twin performances we've seen for quite some time. Okay, we're on to... Go on, Colin.
Yeah, sorry, I've done the microphone in my mouth. Just a quickie for me, can I have Top Speed Automotive Street Eliminator into the pairing lanes, please? Street Eliminator, can you come down?
So we are on with Top Fuel Bike, your class.
Yep.
The king of Top Fuel Bike for many years. Please refresh my memory, just how many titles?
I won 10 European titles. So.
You've done it a couple of times then.
Yeah, I've been around a long time.
You have been. You've been at it a while and successful for a long while too. Out of all of those, which was if there is one that you can pick as the best one?
I think that actually the first one on my old bike, because in that season we broke some European records as well at the same time, and And obviously, I guess, the first one's always very special. So, that was the best one. And then, getting the 10th, knowing that the bike was going to go, that I'd already negotiated, or Phil had negotiated with me to buy my bike. And so to clinch the 10th, get into the double figures was quite special as well. So the first and the last, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a big shame for everybody that followed your career, that obviously that season in the States last year. I mean, you did okay, but by your own high standards, I know you were looking for more than that. Yeah,
I mean, we had a funny year. I mean, I wasn't on my game. I had a heart attack and during the year, and then I had to go and race 6 days later at Memphis, which was quite tough. Well, it was tough not telling the doctor that I was a bike racer, of course. But
you were going to go out and ride one of them.
I got clearance from the authorities in the US to do it. But we had niggly little problems. That was coupled with our lack of experience of tuning in such hot and humid conditions. I mean, it's just so diverse compared to what we're used to in Europe. And we didn't have the magic book of tunes that the Americans have. So we've learned a lot now, and really we should have gone back for a second year because, what we know now would have helped a lot last year, of course.
However.
But
you've ridden a lot of tracks that I've always fancied going to. I mean, the one, I've been to Rockingham.
Yeah.
Now, Rockingham, from the outside, just a spectator point of view, looks a little odd as a rider, because obviously through the finish line it goes downhill quite a bit, doesn't it? Yeah, is that a little odd?
It is odd. I mean, there's some very odd tracks in America, I'd have to say. It's not all, how can I put it, milk and honey and Gainesville Raceway. But, there are some challenges there because if you compare the tracks that we race in America to here, this is much better. Now, I'm talking about infrastructure and the way it's set out, the staff, the crew. We're very, very lucky. I don't think people quite realise how lucky we are with this venue here. One thing we were lacking here, of course, was a concrete track, which we have now.
Yep. So
basically, we are there. And I think some of the performances are showing that, and I'm hoping that will inspire people to run even quicker, of course. Now they have a track where they know they can
come and
probably throw it a lot at it and still go down the track without blowing the tyres away.
The 8th mile track in Benson as well, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Strangely called Gallup Raceway, which actually stands for Get a Load of This.
I know,
it couldn't be any more American if it tried, really.
No.
But 8th mile racetrack?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very nice track, actually, as you know.
Looks good. I like the scoreboards. The scoreboards are fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it has under-floor cooling and heating as well, would you believe? I mean, it's quite impressive.
Yeah.
And the only reason it's not a quarter mile is because the old lady that owns the land next door wouldn't sell up to them. So they've sort of got it in mind that when, unfortunately, she passes, that they're hoping they're going to be able to have a quarter mile track. But, she's stuck her feet in and it's not happening.
Until then, however, it's a very, very quick 8th mile racetrack.
Absolutely,
it's very, very good.
Yeah. And very nice people.
And any other places that you went that you...
Well, I mean... bearing damage, unfortunately, and they weren't really sure why. So they opted for the safe route and not to come out and run, unfortunately.
2 6-second funny bikes though lining up. Eric with the Spider-Man themed machine in the Auto Glim lane went 6.90 and only just beat Glenn Borg to the finish line in his lane as well. So Dale was actually the winner of the finals last year. Slight advantage off the start line to Dale Leaks, but unfortunately,
gear shifting problems,
gear selection issues. 7:27, only 1:59 actually for Eric Bouchard, but it is a place in the semi-finals. So yeah, that was a little nervy actually. Glenn Borg is down here underneath the tower yesterday. He got over into Eric's lane just before the finish line. Fortunately, Eric kept the power on, because otherwise that could have been quite nasty.
Glenn was telling me how unbelievably quick and good the track was. You know, he said he's got the same tune in that he ran 670 at Malta, and he ran 2/10 off it just running here, same tune, everything. So
yeah, he had a couple of issues in qualifying with the bike just not behaving.
Yeah.
But when it does behave, where does it go? That's Glenn Borg down there. 2 more funny bikes. Coldfire Lane is Glenn Borg from Malta. He was number 4 with a 685. And going against in the Auto Glim lane from the UK, Lorcan Parnell, another one of those very unique machines.
yeah, so it's effectively a top fuel bike engine, but running a compound turbo system, so 2 turbochargers, one smaller one feeding a bigger one.
Okay.
A lot of sort of innovation on the bike in terms of aerodynamics, hence the strange flying banana style back end.
That's the bit I noticed that it changed. It looks a bit odd. Sounds like a bit of a tuner's nightmare though, like you said, compound turbo. It's one of the more inconsistent, without no disrespect to them funny bikes, but when it goes right, it goes very well.
Yeah, sort of the project was conceived by Barry Eastman. He's fundamentally the owner of the CBX Honda funny bike rider, and Mick Hand has been involved in it. Mick Hand's very famous in the old days for his Nitro Honda that he had. And
he's just missed them, and he's just missed them. Well, if he'd have actually dinked the centre line, Glenn Borg staged.
Yeah.
And got a green light, I think.
Yeah.
However, he just managed to hang on to it. That would have been a weird way to lose. Anyway, sorry.
And so Mick Hand pushing the cart down there. He's famous for his, I think it was called Little David, blown Nitro Honda way back in the 70s in running 9 seconds.
I remember
it was amazing.
The name. Yeah, I remember the name.
And also Ag McPhail had a hand in that bike, and Ag was famous for riding what is probably the most famous bike in the drag bike in the whole world, the Jade Warrior, which was the lay down head first
skateboard
with the engine
wheels.
at the back, and
it's an incredible thing. I mean, that's sort of, that is engineering 101, but you also have to be slightly deranged to want to ride.
But I mean, it had ground effect, bodywork on it. It was so trick,
The speed, how fast it must have spelt though, with how close it was to the ground.
I'm not sure I'd want to do that. Even I wouldn't.
Even you wouldn't do that. Next up, Stu Crane taking on potential speed record holder, 250 miles an hour yesterday. Now, for years, Rickard pestered the life out of everybody with the funny bike.
He did.
Got on the top fuel bike. I mean, just a quick word about that run yesterday. 250 miles an hour.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. I mean, you've been about, what, 242?
240 something. There's pros and cons with running high speed. I mean, we can all gear our bikes to run those sort of speeds, but it doesn't help you win races. But it's
nice to do.
It's really nice, of course. But totally impressive performances from Rickard and his team. Done a great job.
Well, he's taking on Stu Crane, who ran a PB down at 6.8 at the European finals last year, but unfortunately ended up kneeling up on the bike to get out of the way of the flames afterwards, which was a bit lively. So, Rickard Gustafsson with the fuel bike in the Auto Glim lane, Stu Crane on the warp speed machine. potentially outgunned. However, as we all know, unfortunately all too well, fuel bikes are a little finicky at times.
Sometimes.
Yeah, fickle things. Rickard with a very polite reaction time, but he will take the win. 5.96 at 2.50 again. My goodness me. New speed record for the FIM.
Yeah, great job.
Well, of all the people that have been 250 in the world, he's done it twice in a row now.
Yeah.
Which does make it that bit more impressive, doesn't it, really? Because it's not easy, you know, you've been around a long time. It's just not that easy to do, is it?
No.
Not at all.
No, repeating in drag racing is something that's not often seen, particularly with the bikes, because they're quite hard to ride, and, you know, particularly the top fuel bike, you know, 1,500 horsepower, and, you know, everything around it would say that you can't be consistent on those. So when people show it, it shows, you know, class performance.
And the numbers as well. Just looking at the numbers, he was going nearly 200 miles an hour at the 8th as well.
Yeah.
So, like you said, maybe the bike is geared that way to try and do that. Do you think?
Well, I don't know. I think it's just natural that that's what the bike does. We used to run higher speeds. We actually deliberately geared it to run lower top end speeds. It also helps a bit with leaving the line.
Yeah.
You know, we moved into 0.9 60 foots, 0.98. I don't know what 60 foot. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a tenth of a second off on the 8th. Sorry, on the 60.
Yeah.
But
so
that's
you can see we're trying to move away and get it at the bottom end.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a discussion point.
However, the bottom line is it's ET that wins races, not speed. Speeds are nice, but
sure,
it's
absolutely.
getting there first, obviously, that matters. Thomas Pedersen, number 8 qualifier with a funny bike in the Auto Glim lane, and your baby in the coal fire lane.
Yep.
It must be kind of like watching yourself, a bit of an out-of-body experience.
It is a bit strange.
Well, you're getting our view of you, basically.
Yes.
This is Ian's previous championship win, multi-time championship winning machine. Now with a young man from Greece on there, Phil Papaphilippou, who put in some of the most impressive off-the-trailer runs we've ever seen, one of them being the 4th quickest ever pass in the world at 5.78. He did say, I don't know whether you caught it at pre-race this morning, that he said obviously the bike's heavier so it reacts slower, which he found out in that run last evening. Well, he's still going to get the win in the most unorthodox fashion. Goes through with a 7:47 at 1:64, even though the scoreboard doesn't say it. Phil did take the win. We can see the times up here. However, they're not on the scoreboard for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Actually,
lost a bit of traction.
Yeah, I was just saying that. I was just thinking that.
That's the times.
That is the previous. However, time or not, he definitely got there first. Most importantly.
Yeah.
So. You've had that happen to you, haven't you? Where,
sure.
Where it turns the tyre. Yeah. What can you do to settle a bike down? Obviously?
Well, I mean, you can pedal it. It's not pedaling, throttle it. You can roll off the throttle a bit. You can, if you're not in high gear, you can punch into the next gear.
To settle it down a little bit, yeah.
You could hypothetically even pull the chute as well to try and... No, I mean, it is another trick you can do to alleviate it if nothing else is working. But to be honest, by that time, the other guys crossed the line if you try all those three things.
Well, fortunately for him, Thomas had trouble. Unfortunately for Thomas, he did too. You know, you've had issues, like I said, obviously everyone has traction issues at some point, don't they? And everybody's got their own way of dealing with it. I guess it's just a case of measuring, and, you know, if the other guy's way out in front, you just take it easy.
Sure.
But something like that, a bit different.
Yeah, I mean, when the bikes are so closely matched that, you know, if two bikes can run in the 6s, or one in the 5, of course, but, you know, if you're within a second of the performance, it's so easy to lose a race when you lose traction. You know, it's not like you've got seconds to spare. You have a very short period of time, and in that instance, luckily, Phil was, you know, just had enough momentum to keep going and keep on there.
It is about momentum as well. Funny, glad you mentioned that, because if it's right on the start line, you haven't gone very far before you spun the tyre, so you haven't got any momentum if it happens further down the track.
Yeah.
The only thing with spinning the tyre down the track, when you've only got two wheels, does the back end start trying to catch up with the front end?
It starts
occasionally?
moving around quite a lot, and also the tyre starts to throw out.
Right.
So it gets big, it grows, which can be quite disconcerting if your wheel's in the air at the same time. So you tend to be wheeling.
Yep.
You lose traction, tyre spins, and it throws the front end up even higher.
Right, okay.
And that
Which
can
you've then
unsettle
got to land.
people. Yeah. And
Doesn't sound like a lot of fun, mate.
well, it's a lot of fun when you get off.
Yeah, but the rest of the time. Is there anything else in the world left that you'd like to do after all that? Are they pretty much the top there? I mean, they are
I
pretty
don't
much
really
the
know,
top of the
actually.
food,
I mean,
food chain in bikes.
Yeah,
aren't
I mean, I love motorcycles. You know, I work for a motorcycle company. I build them, and yeah, I love them. It's not, you know, bikes are my thing. And unfortunately, having ended, you know, my last class on a top fuel bike, I don't really want to do any others. So.
Well, the next last round, Super Street Bike, round 2. You were in Super Street for a little while, weren't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I thought so, yeah. Seem to remember one of the all-purple machines being around at...
Yeah, I used to race in this class way back when you could win a race. You know, it was astounding to run a 9.5 second run. That was like world class. You know, and now look how fast they are.
We're in the sixes, and Steve Venables was in qualifying. He's out there in the coal fire lane. Totally different conditions to round one against Steve Mead. Steve Mead in the Autoglim lane. Both 1.2 to 60, but Steve Venables just disappears. 6.92, and he backed off early as well by the look of that. 2.08. Steve Mead with a very game 7.33, 1.95. First leg of a new Europe. It is a record, yeah? That one is. 6.92, another new European record here.
Good.
Well, we've had the speed for Ricard today, now we've got the ET. However, the next man up in the coal fire lane, Franklin Borg, has been quicker than that. However, not anywhere near this weekend. What is it with, I mean, you know, these bikes must give you more headaches than most with tuning, do you think?
I mean, they're very complicated bikes. I mean, if you look at the technology around a Super Street Bike engine, the electricity and the little bits and pieces that are used to make them run quick and keep straight and stop wheeling, and, you know, it's amazing, really. Their rules are reasonably open, so they allow them to run the more sophisticated electronics, but with that comes the trick of tuning it properly as well.
And
the great leveler,
the great leveler is that tiny wheelie street tyre on the rear.
Yeah.
Robert Hagler from Sweden is in as an alternate. Well, and he's actually to 60, well in front of Franklin Borg, and he's going to be in the semi-finals as well. Goes 7.58, 188 miles an hour. Well, that is true outhouse to penthouse, that one. He wasn't qualified. He was sitting down here with a long old face as an alternate earlier on today, and now he's in the semis. Yeah, Franklin Borg with issues. Only a 10-second run. With the sun back on the racetrack, everything's going to change again.
Yeah.
Mogens Lund and Daniel Lentz. Mogens in the coal fire lane, oh so close to a 6-second run, qualified with a 7.02. Daniel Lentz not far behind him. I think he's in the 7.1s. He went 210 miles an hour in testing, which takes some doing. On a basically the tyre patch is smaller than the palm of your hand, isn't it? It's tiny. Whole shot for Daniel Lentz, but issues getting off the line. Mogens Lund is long gone. Is this going to be his first 6? Oh, 7.08, 203 miles an hour. Very, very consistent though. Shame to end the weekend that way for Daniel Lentz. He had a real good, consistent bike up to that point. Yeah, qualifying, running quick, and racing are all different things, aren't they?
Oh, unfortunately,
completely different. Yeah, I know. If you can count the testing classes. Last pair, we have Steve Venables against Robert Hagblom on one side. The winner of this one will get Mogens Lund waiting for them in the next round. Rick Stubbins, very much off his usual storming pace, 7.1s, he's still very quick, but not quite where he's used to being. Eric Gruber, another one of the alternates on the Kawasaki in the Autoglim lane. Made it into round 2. Rick off and running, and away out in front. 7.26 at 1.98. Eric Gruber with a very game 7.67. It will be Venn taking on Robert Hagblom and Morganslund against Rick Stubbins. Ian, it's been a pleasure as always.
Thank you
very, very much indeed.
No, great. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Will do. Cheers.
Always great to have someone who really
knows
really
what they're on
knows
about,
the
basically.
whole
Well, you
class,
can't
doesn't
get more experience
No,
than
you
right
cannot.
there. Definitely not.
Right, FIA Pro Modified. Second round, Mickey Gilchrist taking on Norbert Kuno. Freddie.
That is a half-track burnout for Freddie Fagerstrom.
And then
Jimmy Allen wants one of his traditional now crossed-up burnouts as well. When he comes back, please, ladies and gentlemen, Freddie Fagerstrom's been here for 2 weekends doing this non-stop. He nearly got put out by a broken rear end, but show your appreciation as he comes back. Come on, he can see you in the truck. Give him a massive cheer, please. Freddie is the man.
Oh, yeah.
However, to be the man, you've got to beat the man, and one of those in Pro Mod these days is definitely the guy in the other lane. What was everybody's thoughts, Dick? Thanks for joining us again. Everybody's thoughts after round 1, because there was an awful lot of tyre change.
Yeah, well, like I said, they most of them underestimated the track.
And that's what it
Yeah,
was.
they put in too less power, and well, then you're done.
They took it out from yesterday because
Yeah.
I mean they had the record. I thought maybe it could be the opposite, but I'll trust you to definitely, yeah.
Yeah, they need more power.
Well, that's good to know. So, Freddie Fagerstrom into round 2 in the cold fire lane, and up against Jimmy Allen with the old 51. Now, when Jimmy came into Pro Mod, Freddie really liked making fun of him, saying, well, now you're actually in a real car.
Yeah.
I don't, well, he might be laughing now, he might not, but Freddie's still desperately looking for that first 5-second run. He's never going to get a better chance than this. The track is good, the weather's good. However, well, Freddie hangs on to it expertly, but the old 51 is long gone.
Wow.
5.91
609.
2.42. Really nice 6.09 for Freddie with a lot of tyre shake around about 100 foot out there. 3.88 to the 8th mile.
Wow.
They're not going to make the mistake of not putting enough power in again, are they?
No. I think nobody will now.
Not after that, but thank you so much to Fred and the whole team for coming over and for the entertainment, and to his friend in Sweden for lending the rear end so we can run today.
Yeah.
I think he actually ended up with first nothing happened really, and he got the first bits and pieces, and then he ended up by having like 3 different setups because people realized, oh, I got one in my trailer, I got one at home, so everyone was handing over.
Dr. Norbert Kuno, not been in the 5s yet in his Pro Mod career. He's been 6.0 on a red light in Hockenheim last year. Yeah, so he might as well have run a 10. But he still knows that the car can do it now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And he's had a lot of tyre shake issues this week.
The run before, Norbert had so much tire shake that the whole power went off of the car. So he had no data, so he had no idea
So not the
what
battery off,
went
not
wrong.
everything out, yeah?
Yeah.
Fair enough. He's in the Autoglim lane with the Avenger. However, the perennial number 1 in Pro Modified, Mickey Gilchrist, went 5.86. New track record in qualifying. I think he spent yesterday testing, didn't he? Just to see what he knew that he'd run a 5.86.
Oh, he was in. Yeah, that's typically what Mickey does.
Just to see what the track will take.
Yeah.
Yeah, what he said actually was, I mean, he shouldn't be the guy trusting weather forecast, but he had to do something the first day because
It didn't look
maybe
good yesterday, yeah?
Okay, but it was. I mean, it was a perfect day.
Well, it's turning into another perfect day today, really. When a certain motor heads on. So Mickey G qualified with a 5.86, 3/10 of a second behind him with Norbert Kuno. But this is all about win life, not about win
Absolutely,
life.
yeah.
So Germany against Sweden. Quite honestly, if Norbert takes out Mickey, it will be a big shock. But he used to be the favourite first round spoiler, Norbert, didn't he? In days
Yeah,
gone by?
absolutely. Yeah. And Mickey sometimes pulls her a cherry,
Oh no, he only does that in Finland.
mostly in important runs.
No shot for Norbert Kuno, but Mickey's gone past him already and disappears to a
91.
591 at a booming speed of 245. Norbert, though, was 086 on the tree. Mickey was slightly late, to be honest. However, it was all about Mickey G after that. That car really runs on the back half. He was 200ths of a second slower than Jimmy, yet still ran the same lap time.
Not bad at all. 3.9 flat on the 8 mile.
Yeah. Well, two Andy Robinson built cars. One guy from Holland or the Netherlands. I never know which you prefer. Do you prefer Netherlands or Holland?
No, we prefer Holland.
You prefer Holland?
Yeah.
I always used to get told off for calling it Holland. They
Or
always
just
said,
Nederland.
Nederland. That was
Nederland.
Yeah, there we go. In the coal-fire lane, that's David Vector with the pedal to the metal racing Camaro. Dave had quite big tyre shake in round one, but still went on through. He went in the 580s last weekend at the Doors Slammer, so he knows it's in the car. Up against Kim Christensen with another Andy Robinson built car.
Tuned by a Dutch guy.
Sorry?
Tuned by a Dutch guy.
Tuned by a Dutch guy. And refined by a Dutch guy as well. So this for a place in the semis against Mickey G.
Ooh.
Hey, it's a race day. It's always going to be fun. So David Vector, this time last week, well it would have been Monday, but on Sunday he went 588. We know Kim Christensen's car can go around about the same lap time. So keep your fingers crossed for side-by-side 5-second run here.
Let's hope so.
Well, David with tyre shake,
No.
Kim with the red light, but I think Dave might have seen it because he backed off early. Only 190 miles an hour at the stripe at 6:42. Kim Christensen with a pretty sizable red light. That was a -1.2.
Oh, that was not even close.
Yeah, 0.5 for David, and the car, I mean, he didn't actually shake till the top of the first gear by the look of that.
Yeah.
But he's got Mickey G in the semi-finals.
So what?
Yeah.
You remember the pedal fest that they had together a couple of years
I did,
ago?
and he beat him.
Oh yeah.
I remember interviewing you afterwards. I said, "You remember think a 7-second run would ever beat Mickey Gallquist?" But who cares? Okay, two Camaros are your last pair. One owned, driven, tuned, built by Andy Robinson, who we just mentioned in the Auto Glen Lane. Race car builder extraordinaire from down there in Hampshire. Tuned by his son as well, that's Luke out front, going to be taking on Yanni Eriksson. And Bjorn, I don't know whether you've had, I keep forgetting to ask, I'm so sorry, but Yanni and the team, this is going to be a 5-second race car soon.
It is already on its way. It's an old, well, actually brand new last year. Tammy Brander built 69 Camaro. He drove it for a couple of rounds, or at least a tier twice.
Yeah, he was here in September. He went to the 6.0s in September. He lost in round one, but they're obviously happy about it. He put down a number of 6.0s in qualifying.
Yeah.
He went 6 flat in testing.
Yes.
This should be another one of those. As long as they get down the racetrack, this will be another very, very good race.
Absolutely, yeah.
This is Andy Robinson's 30th year in Pro Modified as well.
Pro Modified, yeah. Unbelievable.
He's only 32, so it's not bad going.
Well, he has to hurry home for, of course, Michel Toren's car is in his workshop, and that needs to be finished in 2 weeks before they can go to
So
Tier.
Michel's at home, hoping he gets knocked out, so he's got more time to fix the
Yeah,
car,
exactly.
yeah?
That will help him back.
So Someone's run out of gears, and it's Andy. 6 flat,
Oh,
237.
look at that. Almost the
Goodness.
5.
Well, at the moment, I don't think they care because we're in the semi-finals. Very even off the start line. Andy had the slight hole shot, but big tyre shake again going past the tree. 98 to 60 to Yanni's 0.99. Yanni Eriksson was 394 at 190 to the 8th. That was a nice, smooth, straight run.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Yanni Eriksson will be taking on Jimmy Orland, an all-Swedish semi-final. On the other side of the ladder, it's Mickey Gallquist, and the only non-Swede.
Hey,
David.
how about that?
Well, that was fun.
Well, hopefully I'll be back for the next round.
That'd be good, just in case the plane doesn't leave.
Exactly.
Well, the thing is, if you were going home yesterday, all the airports were shut, so you wouldn't be going
Yeah,
anywhere.
yeah.
Dave, sorry, beg your pardon. Dick, thank you very much for your help.
You're welcome.
And,
See you later.
Always too. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Get our breath back. What a fantastically entertaining, quite a long procession there. We're going to wrap things up with the 2 jet cars. We have Firestorm underneath the tower, and then it will be Fire Force. We have our sportsman racers in the pairing lanes. Pro ET around there, Street Eliminator, and never actually got a chance to call them out. I'd imagine they're already there as well, but Super Comp are in the lanes as well. Don't forget all of the stuff that you've just seen. We're going to see all of the winners of each of those races back down again as we get ready to do semi-finals for all of our pro classes in probably, kick that off in about an hour's time. So still plenty of action to come. Underneath the stove, the first of the 2 jet cars, it is Roger Goring with the jet funny car Firestorm. This is what they call a centre drive car, where Roger sits in front of the air intake for the jet. When you see Martin Hill come around the corner, he is sat to the left-hand side of the jet.
Well, he's actually in the dragster, so he will be in front.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I'm only looking around the
Oh, yes. Yeah, right.
So, a couple of
well,
jet
yes,
cars.
centre drive funny car, obviously.
Yeah. A couple of jet cars on with sportsman eliminations, then back to pro semi-finals. But very, very stout runs in that session.
Well, European record in Super Street Bike, European speed record in Top Fuel Bike. The records are coming.
They are.
Well, the first time visitors to Santa Cruz today for the last day, Eliminations Day here. This will be the first time you'll have seen a jet car. Roger Goring then with Firestorm had a very good 6.3 second run yesterday. Just looking on the VRP boundary there. Trying to make sure that there's any new people there. It's a little bit different from everything they've seen so far. Straight away as Roger went for the loud pedal. A bit of a backfire on the jet. Roger absolutely fine, but the jet instantly shuts down.
And Roger pulls it over.
Yep.
Well, we've still got one more of those to come before we get going with Sportsman Elims. Just a couple of minutes.
Yeah, it's going to be the second round of Pro ET. Street Eliminator. They went out on their cruise to show and to prove their street legal ability. 26-mile cruise around the Northamptonshire, Bedfordshire countryside. And from what I understand, they all made it back. Going to be super.
If anyone can hear me down there, Dave, everybody, it's on fire in the back. Ladies and gentlemen, Helen, it's on fire in the back. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Well, Richie's standing behind and they know what's going on. They're all right. It's obviously only from our vantage point we can see what they can't see. Well, we're actually going to get a unique view of Roger actually getting out the car as well. He's got a little hatch at the front. Nah, looks all right. Yep, so Martin waiting to go with the Jet Dragster, and we're on with round 2 of Pro ET, I think, Colin, is that right?
It is indeed, yeah. Those of you that have been here for 4 days, if you like, with our sportsman classes have had a full day's qualifying on Thursday. No, wrong day. That was test day Thursday. Friday was our sportsman day. We got 3 rounds of qualifying in on that day. They had a couple of rounds of qualifying on Saturday, and they got 1 qualifier in on Sunday, and of course then they went into eliminations late yesterday afternoon. So Pro ET will be the first of the sportsman classes round. We got the field was reduced from 32 to 16.
Yeah, we're going to start whittling everybody down as we go through the day. Obviously, we got Top Fuel That's right. Apart from Pro Stop Bike. Well, we haven't had Pro Stop Bike yet. Yeah, but that is. And there's only 4. That's right. So effectively 75. We've got the final set up for Pro Stop.
It's late Sunday afternoon here at Santa Pod Raceway for the main event. We've done 4 qualifiers for Super Street Bike. I'm joined by Mogens Lund from Denmark, and he was number 2 qualifier. Well done.
702.
702. There was only 1 6-second bike, which was Steve Venables.
Yeah.
So yeah, at the top of your game there.
Yeah.
Well done. Do you know who you face tomorrow by any chance?
I think if I calculate it right, I will face Gemma.
So another one of the Venables. Okay. Do you ever think that obviously with a team running 2 bikes, they get double the data, and that can be a little bit one up on you?
Yeah, well, no, it's not that much because they're doing 2 different setups. So
true. Yeah. Okay. Well, well done for today for number 2. Have you got Facebook or Instagram?
yeah, I do. Mogens Lund on Facebook and Lund Mogens on Instagram.
There we go. So cheer on the Danish man, Mogens Lund. Good luck for tomorrow, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
So it comes up from Chief Starter Marshall and turning over another jet turbine for you.
Not only just another jet turbine, but Europe's quickest and fastest
Dragster.
jet car current. Oh, hang on, 543.
It's been faster. Yeah, it's been faster. No, he is the quickest.
Oh, Martin is.
Yeah. It's all about Martin, to be honest with you. That's what I said. What is it about? Someone may ask that. What is it about Yorkshireman and jet cars, eh? I was going to tell Julie Webb's not from Yorkshire, but anyway.
Right, okay, let's have a look then. Also got top speed automated street eliminator there, I'll tuck around the corner as well. And of course, some of our other guys as well, super bombers around there. And the reception as well, we've got street already there. Perhaps going back to position the fastest that car ever did. That was outstanding. Starting at 11.72. This one. Mike Lacey with the Camaro into the mid lane. Ben Newsom. Whole lane with the Mustang. So this is what they call bracket racing. This is what evens them up. Mike Lacey's car is obviously way quicker than Ben Newsom's Mustang. But then the head start is given to Ben. He reckons his car can run 11.72. Mike Lacey reckons he can run 9.08. Whoever gets to the finishing line first without going quicker than their chosen number will win. Now, obviously, reaction times are pretty key as well. Some of them have radios in the car, so we don't actually announce what the reaction times are until they've crossed the finish line. It will become obvious as they progress. Well, there goes Ben. Mike Lacey sets off into nice wheels up launch there tonight. Closing, closing, closing. Has he got enough as Ben? No, Ben, bang on his number. Look at, they both on their number. 11.72 on 11.72 Darlin, 9.08 on a 9.08 Darlin. Win margin 0.04. That was one on the start line. Better reaction time there for Ben Newsom. To run bang on your number and to go out, but then when the guy in the other lane does exactly the same, then it's all down to reaction times. Next pair, Karen Stevens with the Chevy Vega. It's called the Las Vega, alongside Alan Medley with the old timer. Oh, Alan goes red. So that's game over. The win light already on in Karen Stevens' lane. As she goes 10.93. Alan Medley actually broke out, so he red lit and he went too quick. Next pair, Steve Hudson with the intravenous Ford Model T going alongside Nick Barnett with the Ford Falcon. Another one of these where one guy has to wait quite a while. Look at the Darlin difference there. 9.13 for Steve, 11.63 for Nick. 2.5 seconds. Steve Hudson has got to wait, but then his car is 2.5 seconds quicker. Nick Barnett going to be leaving first. Right, he's got a green, that's good news for him. Oh, Steve Hudson goes red. So he waited all day to race. Nick Barnett goes through, Steve Hudson waited all day and went 0.082 quick off the line. Next up then, it is the little dragster of Paul Brown from Bedford, just down the road, and just up the road in Floor, the other side of the M1, Dan Williams with the Williams Brothers Racing Chevelle. Darlins then, 10.02 for Dan, 9.15 for Paul. Dan will be leaving first. Another one of these cars that really makes good use of the wheelie bar. This will hike the front wheels right up in the air. Game over already, Mike. Oh, 0.003 red. Dan Williams knocks himself out. And it's Paul Brown. Oh, and he goes 8.99, monster breakout. Dan Williams breaks out as well. That was, well, a bit of everything in that one. But it is Paul Brown into the next round. All right, actually, live action arena, 2 o'clock. I thought it was 2:30, so I also said 3:30. There we go. Yeah, 2 o'clock this afternoon. Confirm that one. Brian Huxley with the Dark Horse Mustang, 9.59. Tom Watkins with Doris the Charger, 9.57. Just 0.02 of a second between these two off the line. Oh, Tom Watkins goes red, so it's Brian Huxley that's going to go through. Well, Brian broke out, but the red light was on first for Thomas, so it is Brian Huxley, regardless of what he ran, he was going to take the win. So, 1 Watkins left, and here he is. This is Neil Watkins with the Purple Express, taking on Janine Hagan with the Mercedes. 11.38, the dial-in for Neil. Janine 10.80. Just over half a second difference between these two. Oh, green light drag race, so whoever's going to judge this one best. Well, the win goes to Neil Watkins. Sorry, Neil Watkins breaks out. He got there first, went by 0.006 of a second, but a little bit too quick. So Janine takes the win with a 10.82. Oh, the big Dodge of Dave Smith taking on Mark Bailey with the Barracuda. 9.70 dialed in for the Dodge. 9 flat for Mark Bailey. This and one more pair will take Pro ET. Oh, Mark Bailey goes red. So Dave Smith through. Well, Mark Bailey goes 8.94 as well, big breakout. Dave Smith, 9.74 on that 70, he's safely through. Right, we know this is a solo. Unfortunately, Wayne Hiscock yesterday, on his previous elimination run, he won the race, but unfortunately lost the war with the engine. So it is Keith Herbert on a solo here into the last 8. Your matchups. Janine in the Mercedes, you just saw go through with Dave Smith. Brian Huxley will take on Paul Brown. Nick Barnett taking on Karen Stevens. And Ben Newsom in the Mustang will be taking on this man here, Keith Herbert.
07 light, we can say that because he's on his own.
Yeah. $9.49, yeah, not too bad on a 47 dialing.
Not bad at all. We've got Top Speed Automotive Street Eliminator round 1 coming up next.
Yeah, 8 cars, but in actual fact, there was one casualty on the cruise. Joe Stevens.
Well, Joe Stevens, I don't think
didn't even go on
the
it,
cruise.
Yeah.
No, I think we didn't see him for any more of the qualifying runs yesterday. So
It's a shame because he was number 2 qualifier as well.
Right, it is Sunday at the main event, and it's day number 2 for qualifying for Pro Modified classes. But walking around the pits of Mickey Gilchrist, I found a familiar face that before today I've only seen on Facebook. This is a Mr. 8 Second. Bjorn Holmberg was the first front-wheel drive racer in Europe to go into the 8s, 899 back in 2011. 2011.
Yeah.
That's it. And now we have 18 front-wheel drive cars.
Yeah.
You have 2 of them
I have
in
2
the
of
8s.
them, yeah.
or had two of them.
The last two of them.
Yes. That's it. You started at the top, and now you know. But hopefully we're going to see you back in the car. But yeah, you're here with Mickey Gilchrist. What are you doing here at Santa Pod Raceway with him?
Filling up oil and a pair of extra hands, so mainly.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And obviously Mickey is currently qualified number 1.
Yes.
How was the pits last night?
I was quite decent, actually.
That's it. And there's quite a bit of a rivalry between Jimmy Allen's team, which is next door.
Oh, yes.
So I'm guessing you guys are opening the windows, just shouting out. And,
yeah,
brilliant.
I mean, he won last weekend.
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Well, Mickey was a bit sad last weekend. He didn't have the best time.
Well, it was a bit hard.
Yeah.
I mean, new track and anything is new and a bit of outlaw.
Yes.
So and mainly everything was.
He's talking about Mateus there. So it's a very sore subject. But again, you're here in England with this. Are you doing any other rounds with Mickey?
Yeah, we're going to Hockenheim.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
You will have a good time there. The Germans know how to party. I can tell you that. But again, it was brilliant to meet you. Hopefully see you back here at the national finals. You'll get roped in for oil duty, I hope. That's what I hope.
Okay.
And one day, hopefully, you'll bring your car here. Maybe Door Slammers 2019.
Yeah, maybe. I said maybe.
You said maybe. Maybe's not a no. Cheers, buddy.
Saturday night. But it all paid off for him.
Well, squealing tyres all the way down.
Yeah.
Is this going to be 10?
No, I'll be surprised.
12:47, 1:28. Still pretty good though, to be honest with you. Certainly looked like it meant it, and well done to Carl for all the hard work. And to Jay, so you're in the semis, that'll do. Okay, Nick Hale with the Mercedes on the Autoglim side of the racetrack. Taking on Ollie, well, should be taking on Ollie Whitehouse. I think he's there. There he is.
Yeah.
Sorry, we can't see underneath us, obviously.
Yeah, he got on the show with a 12:54. Had to go quicker than 13.5 seconds, which he duly did.
Yeah, 12:5. So, Nick Hale has the performance advantage in the Autoglim lane. However, as we just saw with Graham Smith, it doesn't actually matter when it comes to race day. Well, he definitely didn't red light, no. I'll say. Well, half-second reaction time.
Oh, he's back in the nines. Very good indeed, 991.
Nicely done for Ollie Whitehouse, 12:48. If Nick made any mistakes whatsoever, he'd have been there.
Well, that's a PB for him for this weekend. Well done to Ollie.
Right, well, we'll see how strange this one can be, shall we? Nigel Howe has been very, very consistent in the mid-tens in the coal-fire lane with the pickup truck, and is a distinct disadvantage to everything, really, isn't he? However, Martin Smith, number 1 qualified, but very inconsistent at getting off the start line. No trouble at all for Martin, nice and straight and strong. 8:45, 175, it's a round win. 11:04, falling off slightly for Nigel.
So Martin Smith will be racing Adam Charnley, and Carl Goldsmith will be taking on Nick Hale.
Supercom. Is this round 2?
It is.
So, Paul Hudson with proper funny car style burnout in the dragster that time.
Yeah. Well, we've got 4 races and 1 solo.
This afternoon I was at Santa Pod Raceway checking out some of the awesome cars that we have for you at the main event. But for some reason, I'm in Wellingborough, about 10 miles away from Santa Pod. Why the hell am I in a car park, B&M, checking out some awesome cars?
Basically, part of the thing in Street Eliminator is we have to prove that we are street legal and we can drive on the street. and to do that we go out on a cruise. 10 mile down to a garage, put a minimum of 8 litres of fuel in. Once everybody's fueled up, we then drive another 10 miles to a car park or whatever, leave our vehicles to warm up, and once the engines are nice and they're warm, we have to do what they call a hot start, which is basically once the engine is warmed up, we restart and we have 2 minutes on a stopwatch. And if we don't start within that 2 minutes, we're out for the rest of the meeting, and we have to make our own way back to Santa Pod without any additional help.
Okay, so this, I bet, could be proper stressful for some of the drivers when you're coming out and doing this. How does it feel when you have to do it?
It is stressful, but I think a lot of these guys know their cars, and a lot of what goes into this is testing. You know, you have to test your car. You can't just turn up and hope it will work. So we do a lot of road miles prior to the events. I've tested Snow White on countless miles. I'm sure Martin's done the same, and Nigel. So we've all been on the cruises before. I'm still relatively new at this, as opposed to the other guys, but you do get used to it. But it is still straight. You're constantly gauge watching all the time, just making sure everything's where it needs to be. But it's tremendous fun as well at the same time. And look, we're in the car park.
Yeah, that's it.
Thousands of horsepower here, and it's tremendous. So.
No, that's cool. And also, while we were at the BP garage, we just happened to notice there was a Ferrari in the car wash. Why the hell you would put a Ferrari for a car wash, I do not know. But as he come past all of the Street Eliminator cars, he stopped by your Bentley, Martin. Did you happen to have a chat with him or give us some kind words?
Yeah, we had a little chat as we were hoping to get a little bit of heads-up racing. It just ate for our side Wallenborough, but he weren't up for pinks, unfortunately, so never mind, eh?
No, that's fair enough. Oh, well, street cars, like we said, we're out in the street. But yeah, this is a Street Eliminator cruise. We'll be back at Santa Pod soon, and this means it's eliminations after this.
Yeah, we're going to eliminations tomorrow, I believe, first round. So
okay, so fingers crossed everyone makes it back to Santa Pod Raceway. Okay, then we're back here at Santa Pod Raceway in the pits of the Street Eliminator. 25-mile cruise completed. Did anyone fail? Did everything go to plan?
No, everything went to plan, mate. Everyone's back here ready for eliminations.
Brilliant. And obviously yourself only have 2 seats in the car, and your brother having, is it 5 or 3?
5.
So people had good passenger rides. But so we're now into eliminations for Street Eliminator. Where did you finish off in qualifying?
I finished 4th.
4th. And who was number 1 qualifier?
Martin Smith.
Brilliant. Okay then, eliminations time for Street Eliminator.
Wow, you can see the difference on the tree actually. That's a finish line. Oh, he nearly took that on a whole shot as well. The win margin, alright, but 1500ths of a second off the line advantage to Phil Bennett.
2 round wins in one there. He gets a solo in the next round.
I think he just backed off a little too much at the finish line.
There's Darryl Howells just going back to the pits there.
Oh, he was down for that ride. Oh, what a shame. Darryl, Sarah, we'll see you hopefully again in a few weeks' time. Well done and getting around to. Sorry you couldn't make it for that ride. So the Kellett family, Leah in the hot seat this time.
Yeah, tough customer in Billy Gain though. Very
I tell you
tough
what,
indeed.
Leah's not too shabby in
I know.
herself actually, even though it's only her 2nd year, I think. I'd say she's got the hang of it. It's a bit of an understatement. So Leah Kellett, also Glim Lane. Billy in the qualifier lane. Billy's way out there in front, but he's going to back off. Is he going to back off enough? No.
Oh.
Wow, look at that. 8.98 beats a 9.02. Leah was first off the line by a few hundredths of a second as well. The Kellett family doing the dance.
Well, Leah is going to meet this man next time round, Stu Doiney. And there is no tougher customer in this class. He's 3 times champion in Super Comp, and add to that 3 times in a row champion in Super Gas as well. He knows what he's doing, and he just literally just staged the car because he was got Super Gas coming up as well. So don't need to do anything more than that. So that's Super Comp wrapped up for that session. And quarterfinals, semis will be Ronald House.
Supergas is the next, well, one of the next classes. We've got junior dragsters around there too.
Yeah, sorry. Ronald House will be taking on Paul Letchford. Stu Dorney will be racing Laird Callet, and Martin Kirbishley gets a bye to set up semi-finals.
Well done to the Kellets. Congratulations, everybody through into round, well, 3, I think. Yeah, you're all in round 3, aren't you? Good stuff. Junior dragsters up next, racing to the 8th mile. We had the first round under incredibly threatening skies last night.
Yeah, that was crazy. How we avoided that, I will never know.
Well, we could all see it.
Have you seen some of the photographs of the local area from last night? Northampton itself was literally underwater. The A45 became a canal. Far Cotton, just the other side of Northampton.
Yeah.
Some of the deepest floodwater I think they've ever seen.
And we didn't get it.
And we didn't get anything at all.
It's nicer.
Can I please have Super Pro ET into the pairing lanes, please? Super Pro ET, can we have you into the pairing lanes?
Well, for once, it's actually nice to be on the winning side of the weather, isn't it? The amount of times I've got home and heard, well, it's been lovely here all day.
Yeah. Right then, so it is. Let's have a quick look down there. Harley Purcell taking on Jacqueline Bartlett.
So 1190 is the dial.
That's right on the cusp.
Wasn't it Harley that beat Jackie's sister yesterday? I think it was
actually, yeah.
So she could single-handedly be taking the Bartlett family out of their own, well, out of junior dragster. Or he could, I apologise. So Mark Corsell gives him the G up.
So it will be Jacqueline leaving first. So Harley in chase mode.
I think he's gone past her already.
Oh
but
dear.
Breaks out massively. It is Jacqueline Bartlett going to round 3. Reaction time advantage to Harley, but he was there by over half a second.
Yeah. Goodness
That
me.
was a very, very big breakout actually for Harley. Nick.
Luke Mugridge, he gets a solo here. He put away number 1 qualifier. Jack Gooding in round 1. And he gets a freebie here in round 2. So, very good day for the Mugridge family at the moment. Tim Mugridge still in eliminations in comp. Next time round he gets a solo into the final. Luke gets a solo here. Oh, look at the reaction time. Tremolo 7. Wow.
Lukey, well done. Frame that reaction time. And he goes just that bit too quick. But to the Mugridge family there, he had a 000 reaction time. Bang on the money.
That's one thing we haven't seen many of. We had a few perfect ETs, but not many perfect reaction times this weekend. Matthew Dowdy and Holly Marshall. Good matchup, this one. Matthew Dowdy finished 3rd in the National Championship last year.
They're very close styling-wise.
Yeah. Goes red.
Oh, only just 007 red. That was very close indeed.
Well, a breakout for Matthew. Not that it matters. He's through.
So the Wilson family up next.
Sunday evening at Santa Pod Raceway for the main event. We've had round number 1 of eliminations for Junior Dragster. I'm here with Caitlin Deeby, and she's just won her first round of eliminations against Lottie Bradford. How did that round 1 win feel to you?
It feels really good. I've gone through quite a few first rounds before. A few, like, when I was like 10th or 22nd, I went through the whole year going through the first round.
Yeah.
And Lottie Bradford is a really tough girl to beat.
Yeah.
She's a championship winner. She's really hard to beat, and I was quite shocked.
Okay, so you've knocked out one of the ladies in the class, but you're facing Liam now, you say, and if you beat him, you get a bye to the final. How does that feel?
That is actually really nerve-wracking, because I've never gotten, for 4 years I've been doing this, I've never gotten a bye, I've never got knocked out, I've never won from a red light or a breakout, so I have to win from my own merit. But if I beat this, I will be over the moon. I've just finished crying because I found out.
Brilliant. But like you said earlier in the weekend, you're going to run your own race, and if you run your own race, you're going to win and go through, and potentially be a champion here at the main event. You never know.
Particularly happy with life again.
Thank you very much for the cake brought up as well over the
very, very much so, as always. She actually had
brings up you chocolate ones and brings me low-calorie lemon drizzle. That's
not bad.
That's quality,
the thing is, she actually had the audacity to ask me if they were nice. No, they're not nice. They're spectacular. Anyway, next up,
Caitlin Deeby and Liam McDonald.
A couple more, 2 more pairs, and then I think it's Super Gas.
Right, so Little Miss Dynamite herself taking on the whole of Ireland here. Shout out into the pairing lanes for Comp Eliminator, please. Into pairing lanes, please. Comp Eliminator. Can we have you into the pairing lanes? Well, that was decided a while ago. Liam McDonald went red, so it is Caitlin.
Pretty close to the 0-2.
74 and a 70. Not
Right.
too bad at all.
A bit too quick on the dial-in as well. Last pair. Harry Redshaw with the Odyssey batteries. Dragster in the coal-fire lane, going against Mr. Forsale. Not him, the car. Jordan Payne.
Yeah, if you want to stop Jordan Payne winning the championship this year, buy the car now.
Oh, would he pack it in, would he? Straight away?
I think so. Yeah, because he'll be testing the sticky situation Corvette in the summer.
Is that right?
Yeah.
In the summer, like it's not summer now.
Yeah. It's officially still spring until next week, I think.
Is it?
Yeah.
Blimey, more spring races then.
Well, Jordan chasing Harry Redshaw down. Looks like he's pulling level, feathering the throttle, takes a lose there. Wow, he broke out.
Well, he had over a tenth of a second to play with at the finish line, nearly a tenth on the reaction time, but he just couldn't back off enough. So Harry Redshaw goes through. Supergas round 2, I think. Is that right? Come on, Colin, Mr. Paperwork.
No, there. It's the only one that was in the wrong order. Right. The Terry Gibbs Supergas Shootout. Whole list of sponsors. I'm not going to get them all out in the first pairing, but OC Design are supporting the class along with Unity AV, K Moore Contracts Limited, Primer Automation, Rooster Racing Equipment, John Turner Upholstery, Lucas Oil Products, Patoni Solutions, Albert Carter Racing, CM Frost, and Paul Foot Inc. And I will mention the rest of the sponsors after this pair.
Andy Harrison taking on Brian Pateman. Andy in the Autoglim lane. New to Supergas last year and did well straight off the bat. Crew him for a while, so he had the idea, but my goodness, did he take to it well. My goodness, he has taken to it well. He's quite a way out in front of Brian Pateman. I think he's he doesn't go too quick. He's got this one, and he doesn't. Oh, Brian broke out by most. Big reaction time advantage to Andy Harrison, 0.2 to a 0.9. Uncharacteristic for Brian Bateman. Andy Harrison through to round.
Yeah, double breakout by the lesser amount there.
Yeah, and he's taking on the winner of these two. Sorry, Colin.
Right, rest of the sponsors are Douse Limited, which is a Snap-on dealer, GKW or Iron, Mario's Hair Design, the OCS Group, which is obviously OCS Paint between his brothers racing, Tim Lane Decorating, Hopper Heating and Plumbing, Layer 2, and Linton Gratna Football Club, of course, Colin Morris, the goalkeeper for them.
John Giles taking on Gilles Perichot from France with that 32 Ford. Well, you can see the difference on the tree, can't you? Gilles way out there in front, but yeah, he breaks that by a very big margin. John Giles through to race Andy Harrison in round 3, and the winner of that one is in the final.
Yep.
Other side of the ladder. Hi Sharon, it's Simon Goff, the race package himself from down there in Burnham on Crouch, taking on.
Yeah, Simon's guaranteed to win this one, but which one?
I picked Simon.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be Simon Fulton, so I couldn't hold it on the line.
Yeah, he actually, it looked like he had trouble getting it on the Tuesday. Well, doesn't matter about the breakout for Simon Fulton. Simon Goff went red on the tree, unfortunately. End of his weekend. Dave Fulton with that very nicely turned out Camaro in the Coldfire Lane against Mr. Number 1.
I wonder why I like that Camaro. It's the right colour as well.
It is very nice. Is it the same?
Pretty much.
Quicker though.
Oh, way quicker. Oh.
Yeah, that's when you need to do it in eliminations. We'll give you the story on that in just a second when Stu's taking the win.
Stu Doyney there with a treble 03 reaction time. Treble 03 off the line. And he won it by the lesser breakout. And he gets a bye in the next round to the semis. Oh, as if a man doesn't ever need a gift. Stu Doyney gets one.
No. Bye to the semis, apologies. That's right, yeah, sorry, Colin.
Taylor Letchford, Colin Morris.
Yeah, Colin took himself out of Supercom yesterday. Almost unbelievably. He was way out in front, had loads to play with, but broke out against Taylor Letchford. Taylor has been more on the money, though, this weekend in Long.
Well, similar throttle stops for these two. This is going to be interesting.
Taylor. Oh my goodness, 990. Oh my god, this is actually, after last weekend, this is a weekend to forget, I hate to say, for Colin Morris. Taylor with an 02 reaction time advantage.
Yeah.
Sorry, he went 02, 09 for Colin. And that was the difference at the finish line. Colin was perfect. That just goes to prove what a whole shot is. No matter how good you run your car, it's all about leaving the start line. Anyway,
yeah, as
2
Colin
seats
Morris, as Colin Morris was saying yesterday on his Facebook page, he says, I'm thinking about going back to blinky racing. But there was nothing wrong with the run on that at all, just a little bit late off the line.
Well, we did comment on how quick he got the hang of the sportsmanry racing, didn't we? Anyway, we got Super Pro coming up next. I can see them getting ready to go, Colin, and Colin getting ready to go as well.
Yeah, they came down before our second session of Pro. So comp eliminator semi-finals will follow Super Pro. They've just been called into the lanes, and then we'll get ready for the rest of our Pro classes. So another high 7-second pass at 170-ish miles an hour coming up for the two-seater dragster. And Steve Warner still likes to try and chop the tree down at a 018 light. proves that point.
Yeah, you'd be right in thinking, why doesn't he enter that in competition? I'm sure the
In fact, the other
passengers wouldn't
two-seater
mind.
dragster in Europe does run in.
Has done, yeah. Years and
go
years
on,
ago,
help me out.
Suzanne ran it.
Yeah.
Yes, she did.
And there's the other one.
From Finland.
That is the black one. Oh, dear, oh dear. Gerd Habermann has
Oh,
a
yes,
two-seater
I beg your
dragster.
pardon.
Yeah,
Oh, he
he's
does,
raced
yeah.
it here.
That's right, he runs in Pro E2.
In Pro E2, that's right.
Look at that, a slimmer Mr. Parker after all the running about. Yeah, only slightly, I was only being nice.
Well, we got 4 pairs of...
Okay, I'm here at the head of the pairing lanes, and I'm here with one of our security team, Rad. Obviously, you're manning the crossing today, and you get to see all the cars coming by, and you're getting to check out our TV screen that you've got behind. Have you had a chance to have a sneaky look at the racing throughout the day?
A couple of sneaky peeks, yeah.
What have you thought of the coverage from the Santapod Live TV so far?
It is really, really good. It does draw in crowds as well. Obviously, not everyone can go into the stands or round to the embankment in time. If the rocket cars or the big fuel cars are coming down, we stop, have a beer and a burger and watch on the big screen.
Brilliant, so we're doing good. And obviously, because you're manning the crossing, do you kind of get to know some of the racers' faces and get to like interact with them throughout the day?
Some of them, yeah. Ultimately, are regulars from weekend after weekend, but yeah, lots of newer drivers that are coming through from Europe.
Brilliant. And what is your favourite class or car or racing driver that comes to
it's got to be the
Santapod?
rocket car.
Got to be the rocket man.
It's such a class-bearer kit, and Yeah.
He is a crazy, crazy Frenchman.
Yes.
Oh, well, brilliant. Okay, well, thank you very much, and keep manning security and not watching the telly. Okay, we're in the Street Eliminator pits, and I'm here with Carl Goldsmith, a VWDRC regular, but this weekend competing in Street Eliminator, which is the class where you have to be fully street legal. Now, you are internet known as the Cloud Maker. We took a couple of videos of yourself doing a burnout. Please just tell us why and how in a 1.8 20 valve turbo.
Oh, I do it for the fun. It's nothing more than the fun of it. I put it in third gear, turn the nitrous on. It's also a good test for the nitrous. If it doesn't spin the wheels, I know there's a problem.
On that last one, obviously, we got loads of people up in our VIP banking. They literally saw this VW Golf come around the corner. By the time you did a burnout, you had the biggest round of applause ever. On the run, you were spinning the tyres. Obviously, you're in street car mode, but how did that run go for you? Because you're actually now qualified, aren't you?
I have qualified. I've run a 12.3 at 132. The impressive thing for me, I went from 98 mile an hour in the 8th to 132 in the quarter, which is bloody impressive. For me, anyway.
No, that's it. Again, like you said, you're putting on nearly 40 miles an hour, top end of the track, in a street car on street tyres. Yeah, ready for the cruise this evening?
It's actually in about an hour.
Is it?
And yes, I think they're doing it after the pro session. It looks to be awesome.
Brilliant. Okay, well, this is the budget racer, Carl Goldsmith, for the 20 valve turbo. Usually runs 10s in race mode, but he's in street mode. Check it out. Well, as you always say, you ask, we do. So we're over in the pits with the Wild Child Super Comp Dragster of Andy Williams. Andy doesn't feel he's beautiful enough for the TV, but Tom is. So Tom, one of the crew members, is going to come and join us for a little chat. Super Comp 890 index class. Yep. How are you doing so far?
Yeah, currently doing all right. Sitting at number 3, coming into the weekend with no data at all. So we're happy with that, really, with an 891. All good, really, yeah.
Let's be honest, 891 is really not far off the diamond, but this is Super Comp racing.
Yeah, there's still room.
Super tight. As you said, Stuart Doyne has pipped you for number 1. He is the number 2 now. Number 2.
So we're number 3.
Number 3, and who's number 1?
Ronald in the big Chevy.
Ah, yes, Ronald House. Very nice. Please tell us a little bit about the Dragster, and I believe it's also for sale, isn't it?
Yeah, it's for sale at the minute. So if you're interested, come speak to Andy, the owner. 383 small block, 2-speed power glide. Easy to drive, he says. I've jumped in it and then within a weekend run flat out, so it's a good car to get going in, really, if you want to step up.
Okay, so that's the Wild Child Dragster in Super Comp, and like we said, it is for sale. And like Tom said, if you want to just jump in it, have a go, you will run the numbers. So come and check out the Wild Child Dragster. Right, we're in the haven of the Lucky Devil Corvette here at Santa Pod Raceway with driver Wayne Nicholson. Yesterday got 2 qualifying runs in this main event. How did it go for you?
The first run yesterday was a personal best 6:34, 223 miles an hour, and then the second run, whilst the ET wasn't any better, the mile an hour was marginally up on that. So 2 runs, 2 PBs.
Brilliant. And everything motor-wise okay? I can see the crew here are working away on the car. You had the engine torn down last night, maybe? Was it routine maintenance or?
A little bit of routine maintenance and a little bit of something we weren't quite happy with.
Okay.
So last night we took the cylinder heads off, took the supercharger off, took the oil pan off, basically down to a short motor. Just checked a few things out, found something that we needed to fix, which was marginal, and it's all back together now.
Brilliant. And like you said, yesterday you ran a personal best. How long ago was it since? Because obviously, once you get up in the higher echelons of like pro modified and stuff like that, your personal bests become longer and longer to achieve.
Yeah. National finals last year, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So really, not actually that far.
No.
I mean, we had a bit of a rain off at Easter.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's a brilliant start to the season.
It is, and hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood, we'll go a little bit quicker again today.
Okay, so looking for 2 qualifiers today.
Yeah.
Do you know where you're currently qualified?
I think out of 16 cars, we're 10th at the minute.
Ah, brilliant. So you're qualified and ready for the show tomorrow?
Yes. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, good luck tomorrow at the main event. Guys, are you following Wayne Nicholson?
countdown's complete. Just a couple of quick ones from me. Can we have Top Fuel Dragster into the pairing lanes, please? Nostalgia Funny Cars I've already called. And can I have FIA Top Methanol as well?
I can see a glint in the distance. I can see Tony's on his way already. So, quick car and slow car. Not that slow, however, by comparison.
Still quite a big gap.
Big old gap, nearly over a second and a half. So, Oliver with the Roadster hasn't really been that near his dial, hasn't really been that on the tree. However, it doesn't matter about any of that. It's all about twin lights, obviously.
We'll see what happens now.
However, Nick Good has been razor sharp on the line, bang on the money.
Yeah, I did notice as well on the last run, Nick seemed to lift the front wheels more than he has on the rest of the runs this weekend. I don't know if he's taken some of the nose weight back out, but his light was better than it has been.
Does that affect the light?
Yeah, absolutely. It lifts the wheels that quickly out of the beam upwards. That's, that can be a problem.
So it takes the wheel upwards out of the beam
instead of forwards.
Ah,
yeah.
right, which means he's that close to red lighting if he's not careful.
Yeah.
Okay. He wasn't close to red lighting then.
That left quite flat as well.
And he takes the win. 687 on an 82. He had a tenth of a bit to play with at the finish line. He was 700ths quicker on the tree, although not as quick as he has been. That was comparatively a very polite reaction time. It is nice watching it on the replay actually, because you can see just. Oh, that is actually live. I apologise. Well, it'll do as a replay for us. Anyone watching live is now going to wonder what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah, it just confused everybody out
exactly.
there.
So your numbers 1 and 5 qualifier. Laura Turbable with the very nicely matte black dragster.
And this could be the rest of the round for me. Two very evenly matched cars, two very evenly matched drivers.
Two very young drivers as well.
Yeah.
Actually, Laura, I think, is Laura the oldest of these two actually? I think Laura's about
She's
20.
older than John. I'm not sure about
I'm
Paul.
not sure about Paul, no.
Well, they're both
they're
in their
around
early
the
20s.
same, yeah.
They're both in their early 20s anyway. So one great thing about our sport is that ladies can compete on a completely level playing field, and sometimes they do a little
or better, yeah.
Or better, yeah, you got it. So Laura's going to go first by just under 0.4 of a second, depending on reaction time, of course. Looks like Laura was slightly late by comparison. We'll soon find out.
And Paul's going to lift.
Oh, 55 on 55. Laura breaks out. Actually, Laura broke out and she still got there second.
That thing again a bit mathematically ineligible.
Are we suddenly having the big burnout nationals without anyone telling us? Just in this round alone. So yeah, Laura, nearly 1/10 of a second on the tree advantage to John Brisball, and he took the stripe as well by 100th of a second, and Laura broke out. So there we go, that was the story of that one. They're into, so Paul's Brisball is going to be taking on Nick Good in the semis. Yeah, they're all eye-raising races when you get to this level, aren't they? Dave Evans in the Doomsday Impala, Coalfire Lane 805. Now Joe Dahl's 805 as well. Is that by accident? I don't think so.
Well, you know what I do in that position, so it's quite possible that he may be using the tactical advantage of the same dialing.
I.e.
It's a really nice way to see what the reaction time the other car's got.
Yeah.
You dialing exactly the same thing, you know what he's done, you know what work you have to do at the top end.
And the thing is as well is that, well, actually, that's pretty much all out for both of them all the way down the racetrack, isn't it? So it's basically
it
a
is,
heads-up
as long as
race.
if Joe's dialed the same as Dave, but Dave has dialed to hold a couple of numbers, then Dave will back off.
Joe breaks out by the most, 100th of a second.
Like I said, if Dave had dialed to hold, Joe needed to stay behind him.
Wow. So Joe was out the gate first by 500ths of a second. The Kellett family honour falls to Leah. There's a scary thought. Just kidding, Leah. Obviously, more than capable. So Brian Payman, good day for Dave Evans though.
Absolutely.
Very good day for Dave Evans. So 887 for Brian Payman, uncharacteristically late in eliminations just a minute ago for Supercom.
and I would say 887. Brian Pittman's holding about 3 or 4.
At least.
So yeah, at least.
And
it is hot at the moment, but he wants to play at the top end.
798 for Ian Powell.
Ian likes to run the car right out the back door. He doesn't tend to want to race at the top end.
Whoa! This is a proper who can run the number race, this one. The answer is Brian. Wow. They were both 0-1 on the tree, and just by that much.
Yeah, with Brian holding the numbers there, he just had that tactical advantage.
Yeah, so are we on to semis? For that?
Yeah, this is semi-finals for Comp Eliminator.
It is to set up the final then, so stick around, Chris. Just for a second, we got, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not in a viewing area, milling around in the pits, we've got FIA Top Fuel Dragster round behind the tower for their semi-final races. Anita Michaela taking on Antti Horto, an all-finish affair, and the UK taking on Denmark. Stig against Liam. Andy Hone, Belinda Ball. And now, if this is a semi-final matchup, how are number 1 and 2 meeting in the semi-final? Anyway,
it's the way that
it's the way the ladder goes. Yeah, it's a 16-car ladder.
It's a different ladder to what we normally see. Number 1 takes on number. Well, no, number 1 got off. I don't know.
So 0.5 advantage on the tree going to Andy Hone. Belinda Ball is going to try and run him down.
But of course no breakouts here.
Yeah, so like you said, Chris, no breakouts whatsoever. It's heads-up race. Green light comes on, first to the finish line wins. However, there is an advantage going to Granada. And it is a green light drag race. Can Fred stay out in front or Belinda run him down? It's going to be Fred. Wow! Just a bit too quick. 7.39 takes out Belinda's good try at a 7.10. Win margin at the stripe was 0.15. Yeah, Belinda was just run out of racetrack. So Fred will be in the final, and he may have done a bit of damage to his index as well. Just a little, just a bit. I'm sure the other Supermod racers will thank him for.
Yeah, that's bizarre because I had Tim Rutgridge winning that previous round, but it's Robin that's appeared, so not quite sure.
How or why?
How or why, yeah.
Fair enough.
Are we still racing completely class-based indexes, or are we moving to the American system with the FIA?
Why are you asking us?
I just thought I would ask. It's something that I haven't looked. I've not had to be here when Compliment has been racing recently.
I do know exactly what he means, but no, we're still with the European version.
Yeah, so it is a class index.
Yeah, so Fred has just walloped the Supermod index.
Into the pairing names, please, for FIM Europe. Super Twin Bike and Top Fuel Bike, please. Top Fuel Dragster coming up.
Yeah, all of our pro semi-finals are on their way down if they're not here already. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, viewing area is now advised.
What we like to call complicated eliminator,
but it's not.
Yeah, well,
which it really isn't.
But
really now in America, they're calling stupidly complicated eliminator.
Yeah, well, no, but after you explained it yesterday, Super Pro is definitely super complicated eliminator.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, Keith Dole, who's tuned in on the internet, says, nice to see the commentators don't understand comp eliminator. I'm sure you'll put them right on that in a moment.
Well.
Yeah, we're watching the internet feed as well. And the Battle of Britain Memorial Spitfire is overhead as well.
Not as much tyre shake as before for Robin.
But it did chatter.
7.16, nicely done. He'll be in the final up against Fred. Now, Comp Eliminator is very simple, really simple. You build a car, you put an engine in it of a certain size. That means that due to the size of the engine, you are given a weight that you have to run. and that's it. You get an index to run off, and it's heads-up racing off that. It's that simple.
Until you do what we've just seen happen,
Exactly.
and then the index moves because you've gone faster than you're allowed to go faster.
That's exactly right. However, it still means it's a heads-up race. It just means Fred's index has got adjusted for the final, but he's still got a performance advantage, and there's still a good chance he'll take the final. So there we go. Okay, so the Dakota, where's it gone?
It's not a Dakota, it's a Spitfire.
Oh, I
today.
apologise, sorry. I should have known
That's
from the
why it
noise.
was-
My
yeah.
apologise.
Unmistakable Merlin engine sound there.
Well, we're about to have an unmistakable nitro sound coming up very, very shortly indeed. Be interesting to see what the teams can do for this semi-final round. Track conditions much more like they've been for the last couple of days about now. So where's he gone? I think everyone's looking over there, so he must have gone that way. I'm not. It's very difficult to see because obviously we've got a roof and everyone else sitting out there hasn't. But anyway.
So they're pointing this way.
So he's up there, somewhere.
Oh yeah, I can see it now. Yeah, just over yonder.
Your eyesight is way better than mine. Is that because I'm looking in the field?
No, it's going that way at the moment.
Ah. I'm just going to bow to your superior knowledge and eyesight, mate, to be honest with you.
I'm not actually sure if it's coming back because it's a fair old way away.
Yeah, that's what I would. It's obviously got to be far away. Anyway, so the Spitfire's over. We have semi-finals of FIA Top Fuel Dragster.
He's doing the display at the wrong place. You can see it now there, look.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I beg your pardon. He is at. You're right there. Actually.
I think he's picked the wrong airfield.
Yeah, he might be doing that. Anyway, so semi-final round to set up the final round for FIA Top Fuel Dragster at the first round of the season. In the coal-fire lane, the #1 qualifier from Finland, the young lad in a brand new Top Fuel Dragster, owned and tuned by Runefjeld. It's Antti Horto taking on the Queen of Santa Pod, Anita Merkila. As the song goes, quench my blood with nitromethane. Forget that gasoline stuff. Nice high revving burnout for Anita, but the downside to that is much thinner tyre tracks to launch from.
It did very much get up on the tyre, didn't it? It was noticeable.
Depends on the size of the throttle stop, obviously. So Antti Horto in 390 in qualifying. He made another 3-second run in qualifying, 2 and a 4.0. Anita only had really one strong qualifying run, which was a 395. But in round 1, she had low ET by quite some margin with a 3.98 run. Now, if they both look and go, who knows what the outcome is going to be. We hope for side-by-side 300-mile-an-hour, 3-second runs. In reality, that's very, very hard to do. However, if anyone can do it, a pair of these can. Jimmy Walsh actually helping out with down there with Antti Horto from the US. Unusual for Anita as well. I cannot see anyone on the start line from the States on her team. But Sammy Lettermark, who's her crew chief down there by the engine, more than capable. So, Antti or Anita? Well, Antti's car dies, Anita with a 390, 310 miles an hour. There we go. That's what we were waiting for. They're almost dead even off the start line. They both had 0.85 to 60 foot. They both had 2.2 to 330, but just about then, Antti's car quit for some reason. I'm not sure why. I think it may have been a belt or a blower relief panel, because I didn't see a whistle of tyre smoke or shake or anything at all. And Anita, though, listen to these half-track numbers. She was to the 8th mile in 3.12 at 277 miles an hour.
And that's big miles.
That's big 8th mile an hour, that is. Across the straight, 3.90, 310 miles an hour. She's in the final, and to say she's back on form is a bit of an understatement, I think. But we all know that team can do that at any given day.
I'm actually monitoring the live feed at the moment,
Yep.
and obviously the internet is gone.
Just 2 secs. Give them a big cheer, folks. That's Anita's team. They're in the first final of the season. That's Tommy Happen and her husband. Very, very happy with life.
Yeah, all the car alarms have just gone off behind the studio. Quite a few of the regular people that are tuned in. Monique Kodam has just tuned in. Polly Judge, shame you're not here this weekend. Even Luke Stevenson's not here.
He's watching, is he?
He's watching, yeah.
Oh, dearie me.
They're all
Up
about.
next, ladies and gentlemen, Stick Near Guard, the Eye of the Storm from Denmark in the coal-fire lane, taking on from the UK, Mr. Liam Jones.
And very nearly one of my neighbours.
Very nearly one of your neighbours, yeah.
Liam and I only live a matter of a few miles from each other.
Ah. So Liam, I'm sure he says I only live a few miles from Chris Park.
Yeah,
all
of
the
course he
time.
does, yeah, I mean-
I'm sure he does. But Liam, he's never been in a final in FIA Top Fuel. He ran a 390 in qualifying, what Anita just did. And he's the sole remaining car for Runa Fjellder's. However, Stig Neergaard in the Lucas Oil car in the coal-fire lane.
Also, just goes to show, this is rather bizarre, even Chris Andrews has just commented on the feed, so even Chris is tuned in at the moment. So they're all out there, they're all watching.
Yeah, we had some friends from Australia tuned in the other day.
I'm not
I suddenly got a message while I was still here from Shane and Kerry. Shane was modified champion in Aussie 14. Said hello the other day.
So Liam, I'll tell you what, it's enough to be confidence when you sit in the car and you look at a 390 at 310 miles an hour on the scoreboard that's being cleared before you come up to the start line. They both know the racetrack is really, really good. It's just a case of getting a handle on it. We know Runa's got three 390-second Top Fuel Dragsters. There's only one left in competition at the moment, and that's Liam. Fingers crossed for everyone in the UK that'll be the case at the moment. Stig will do his best to make that not happen. Keep Liam away from sharp objects. 402, 251 with the belt sailing through the air, and he goes red by 0.4. That would have been a final round place for Liam from the UK. As it stands, possibly one of the bigger outside bets for the weekend. Stig, who hasn't made it down the racetrack once yet, is in the final against Anita, and he's got just as good a chance as any of doing it too. So, well, I'm almost glad I'm not down the top end and I've got to be the one to tell Liam he red lit. I'd only hope he knows, but there we go. Anyway, drag racing's the most humbling of sports. It is, the margins are just
certainly can be
minuscule, and Liam just timed that one wrong, unfortunately for them. So,
and he probably won't know, because I presume, not ever having been that quick, but looking at the scoreboards when you're doing that's probably not the first thing on your mind.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
It's quite pungent. Stings the nostrils in a good way. Yeah. Brian, I'm gonna be honest with you, that smells like pure gasoline.
60% of the time, it works every time.
That doesn't make sense.
The engine leaning out, so it's going to be Bob on a solo.
Yeah, well, this was the first of. Not sure whether it was the semi-final. We'll be seeing Tony Betts in just a moment. Yeah, Rob. Oh, big leak out there in the coal fire lane. Hopefully that's only fuel and that's going to evaporate. Bob Grasser very, very wayward indeed yesterday. That's not evaporating, is it? Never mind.
No, it looks like it's not. Can't see it losing anything now, though.
So Bob Glassop on his own. Richard Walters, true chief to the start. Lovely run for Bob Glassop. Will this be a 6? Oh, yes! 663, 213. Richard
Walters bends down and kisses the start line.
Oh my goodness me. Wow, have they all got their act together this weekend or what? Congratulations to Bob and the whole crew. The quickest he'd ever been before that was in the 7s. So a massive personal best for Bob Glassop. A beautiful run from one end to the other.
And that's nostalgia funny because cars go, that was straight. It did.
It did what it was supposed to do.
What it was supposed to do.
You bet. Actually saying that might be evaporating out there in the coal fire lane. Just a bit of sweeping going on as opposed to anything else. If you like this kind of thing as well, by the way, Dragstalgia in the middle of July, absolutely the mecca now in Europe for all kinds of nostalgia racing. We have a lot of Scandinavians come over. We've got a specific bunch of cars coming over that I can't wait to see.
Well, I'm just looking forward to seeing a certain Daimler-powered car.
And maybe run 200 mile an hour as
I would hope it maybe will.
I think that was actually just fuel because we're on with Tony Betts. Yeah, you're right. There's so much stuff there, isn't there, that you don't see at any other time of year. And we've also got over in the from the States with the Chi-Town Hustler. Troy Ray going to be driving. Yeah,
virtual being
awesome stuff. So here comes Tony Betts. That really does sparkle in the sunshine.
Just quickly, Rob Brown likes to say, could I have a shout out to my wife of 1 year today, Lizzie Brown? Well, Rob, it's been done for you. There you go.
Oh, what a way to spend your anniversary.
Yeah.
The same way you spend your anniversary every year.
No, he should be here actually, Rob Brown, not one on the live feed. But there we go. Congratulations on your 1 year anniversary.
Yeah, so Bob Glassop, I'm sure, and the whole team having that warm and fuzzy feeling at the top end. That's quite nice, isn't it? I've had that a few times.
I like the warm, fuzzy feeling.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So Tony Betts with Venom, the number 1 qualifier, went 6:03. Timmy, if you tuned in, we miss you. And it looks like we may have a couple of races that are on your tail now.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if Timmy's actually tuned in and watching all of this. As you've seen Tony Betts go 6-0, Bob Glasser really well into the 6s.
Gorgeous metal plate paint job on this Camaro. So Tony yesterday went 6:03, by far his quickest run in this car. Let's see what he's got for us today. Nicely driven, Tone, all the way around the lane. 6:01, 245 miles an hour. That is a huge speed as well. Congratulations to the whole team. If he wasn't trying to write Venom in the racetrack,
well, if he'd gone a quarter of a mile, he might have actually run a 5.
That's the one. But getting ever closer. I'm sure Tone.
That was very much the long way around.
Yeah, Tone very happy with life as well. Give Rob Elsom and the Dirty Deeds team a very, very big cheer, please. Rob puts everything he's got into that machine, as does everybody else, but very deserving of your appreciation. And one hell of a nice race car as well.
Right, I'm just getting our breath back after that one.
Well, we've got lots more pro semis
yeah.
coming up. Just very quickly, Colin, we've got Tough Methanol and we've got the bikes as well.
Yeah, into pairing lanes, please. Can we have a pro stock bike, please? Super street bike, and from the FIA classes, can I have pro modified round the corner as well? Still so much to come at us this afternoon.
You bet. We've got Super Twins lining up now behind the tower. Mr. Parker wilting away to nothing.
Message for you off the live feed. Hey, Darryl, apparently I should be doing the garden. That's Pete Grange.
Yeah, you should be doing the garden, Pete, because you haven't got a race car, have you? You've just got one you're practicing at Run What You Brungs. He'll kill me for saying that. Plus, I want him to fix the dent on my car when I get home, so he won't be doing that now. I'll get home and my car will be painted pink. Anyway. So, yeah, Pete's got the absolutely, it really is a beautiful thing. It's a Cougar. Ford Cougar that is powered by a Ford, and you're trying to get into the 8s for oh so long. He'll be there shortly, and I think he'll be back up here at Dragsters as well, as I will be with my pink Honda.
Yeah, Dragstalgia, talk about that. Obviously you've got Nostalgia Funny Cars, but you've also got it's to be done on a Cannonball, obviously with the fuel alters as well.
Yeah, everything
Nick
in there.
Davis and Paul Watson with
the T.
Paul's actually tuned into the feed as well. Good afternoon, Paul. Hope you're keeping well, and look forward to seeing you at Dragstalgia.
Okay, Chris, thank you very much indeed for your time and attention. We have Mr. King back up in the tower.
Thank you very much, Darryl.
No problem at all. We'll see you again for Super Pro.
you.
Good man, thank you. Yeah. So, Ian, welcome back up here after pretty terrific performances in round one. I guess they're all kind of excited about semi-finals, are they?
Well, they were excited to get down here. I saw them all rushing to get the bikes ready, so luckily I think everyone's made it.
Yeah, well, it is always a bit of a, well, when you're going rounds on race day, the one good thing about going rounds on race day, I can't tell you how happy I am to see the Pels family and Ronnie Olsen back for round two, because the amount of times, unfortunately for them, the amount of times that they made a stonking run in round one or they got through, and we didn't see them again, they appear, I don't want to jinx it, but they're here.
Absolutely. Well, as I said, they've been stepping up little by little as they need to do it, and fantastic last round.
Little by half a second,
well,
exactly, yeah. They knew they had it, and well, there we go. So, Ton and Vincent and Ronnie going to be taking on, until that point, the star of the show, the Super Twins, and he still may well be, Marcus Christensen. It looked like at the start of the weekend, Marcus had everybody covered. That's not the case now, is it?
No, absolutely not. But the difference in times between these two is so marginal that, you know, you could be one or lost on the lights.
So Marcus Christensen, a young lad on the bike that's built and tuned by his dad. And unbelievably, we got Just wait for Ronnie. Unbelievably, we've got 3 blown bikes in competition. We have the potential for the first ever all-blower bike final as well. If Ronnie Orson gets by Marcus, that will be the case. Colin's just watching the telly.
Pete Grange has just messaged you again. But he's scrolled off the line now. Paul Watson's, he's ready for Dragsters, just a couple of minor things to do. So
good stuff. So, Marcus Christensen in the coal-fire lane for Denmark. From Norway with the bike from the Netherlands, the monstrous Zodiac machine, the Pels family, in the Autoglim lane for a place in the final. There was nothing between these two in their first round runs. Here we go. Well, Marcus is out front. Is Ronnie going to run him down? I think he might run out of racetrack. It's Marcus with a 6.33, 212 miles an hour. Wow, just take a bow now. A 6.46 at 2.28 for Ronnie, and he was on that all the way through the finish line. 2.28 is a huge speed.
Great run.
I was going to say your thoughts
Great
on
race.
that, Ian, because that was one of the quickest races ever.
Yep. Well, Marcus had to be on his game then, obviously, and showed the qualities that he's shown, outside of his country in the Nordic Championship before.
Yeah.
So amazing.
I can't imagine, even in their wildest dreams, they thought they'd pick up 0.2 of a second on their personal best.
No.
I mean, that's world-class performance from both of them. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. Again, great shout out to the Zodiac team because, they've made a great race of it. And, what can you say? I mean, after all the troubles they've had over the years, fantastic result anyway. I'm sure they'll be happy.
That was good. That was very good. Definitely one of those races that lived up to expectation. Yep. However, we have another one coming up now. Neil Midgley from the UK with the supercharged Super Twin in the coal-fire lane against Hans Olaf Olstad, the Thunderstruck Nitro Twin from Norway. Both of these two were in the 650s in round one. Still lots more to come as well. Lots more. Potential though, that's not always good enough. Neil Midgley's out there in front, but Hans Olaf is right with him. Neil Midgley's pooping out. It's Hans Olaf, takes the win with a 6.67, 2.23. Neil Midgley was ahead at every increment apart from the one that mattered. He was to the 8th mile, 0.3 of a second before Hans Olaf on that one. 4.16 to the 8th to Hans Olaf's 4.47, but the big difference was Hans Olaf was able to keep it nailed all the way through, whereas Neil Midgley just
ran up half at the top end.
It did. I mean, I spoke to Cannon, he said they got some sort of fueling issue at the top end, and, well, it's a final between Norway and Denmark in Super Twin. Two great races,
yes,
though.
absolutely.
Two really, really good races. So how do you feel with your bike line, well, your old bike lining up down there? Does it feel worse or better if you're on the bike?
No, it's better if I'm on the bike. I mean, obviously, it hurts every time I see Phil go down the track quickly because I want that to be me.
You want to do it, yeah? So just, I mean, if you don't mind me asking, I mean, the reason that you quit, was it because you'd done everything, you thought there was no more to do?
No, in actual fact, effectively I haven't quit. I've sold the bike.
Oh, okay.
It's a different thing, but that may be the same thing, because if I don't get, to try something else, or I don't want to try something else, then maybe that is it for racing. But Phil made a great offer to me for the bike, and it's unfortunately we need new, younger blood in, and that's one thing. I'm not young, so it's great to have someone, and particularly from the Mediterranean countries. The other thing is great to have people from that neck of the woods. To have something to aspire to with a fellow countryman.
Well, we got Greece against France in this semi-final race. Phil Papaphilippou, who is out there in front and going into his first final of the year, 6:24, 195. But wow, Lorcan Parnell is not from France.
No.
Sorry, mate. I just noticed
the French
that.
part
It's
of
all right.
London.
It was the yellow bit, French part of London. 674 though, 218 for Lorcan.
Great
That's
job.
superb. Well, I did wonder why Phil wasn't running away and hiding from him, and that was obviously why. But Phil Papaphilippou is in the final on your old machine.
Yep.
But Lorcan Parnell put up one hell of a fight.
He did.
Absolutely great racing for the FYM today. Sometimes it's a little hit or miss. Today he's definitely been a hit.
Absolutely.
So Ricard Gustafsson against the man from the French part of, or the English part of France.
The English guy
Is
from
that
France.
Eric Ricard. So, I mean, that speed as well for Lorcan, 218. That's massive. That shows even more potential.
2 turbos.
Is that what it? That's what does
definitely
it.
2 turbos.
So the fuel bike of Ricard Gustafsson, he's been over 250 miles an hour. Twice already this weekend. Been down into the 5s twice as well. Taking on Eric Richard. Is there, from France, definitely,
yes.
Is there ever a situation where when you're on a fuel bike, you do just turn it down to take it a little bit easier against a funny run, because you know if you make a clean run, you've got to...
Yeah, well, actually, that's what we did with our bike for the last pass. We took some power out to make it down the track without spinning the tyre, you know? Yeah. Come the final, it's a different deal.
Well, it depends who's in the final, obviously, doesn't it? Yeah. So Ricard from Sweden with the RG engineering machine, like I said, over 250 twice in a row. It doesn't 60 foot, but by boy, does it mile an hour. Yeah, no 60 foot again. Oh, can Ricard make it?
Yes.
Just, oh my word. What a race. Ricard takes the strike by just 6/100ths of a second. He was whole shot to death by Eric Richard there. Eric ran another new personal best of a 6.90193, but Ricard on and off the throttle like the proverbial fiddler's elbow. And obviously, do you think he pulled the chute to keep the bike stable?
Yeah, I mean, that's the great thing with the chutes. As soon as you cross the line, it tends to bump around a bit as you offload the tyre when you shut the throttle anyway.
Okay.
But of course, he'd been sort of sideways a little bit on the run, and he was probably going to cross into the other lane in the shutdown area, so he safely pulled the chute and pulled himself straight.
Well, we're on to Pro Stock Bike. Our final is the one we wanted, to be honest with you. Phil against Ricard for the marbles in Soft Fuel Bike. Those two have raced each other before on a funny bike. And it was quite funny, actually, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
They both went off the start line.
Yeah, one of the more memorable.
It was, especially Ricard's gesture, but there we are. Martin Bishop sadly not making it to the line for round 1 in Pro Stock Bike. It's going to be Maurice Bertrand with a freebie into the final. Heads for the centre line, but very expertly pulls it back. And goes 763 at 174.
Just a quickie from me into the pairing lanes, please. Can I have Jetcar 543, Jetcar Firestorm, and also Eric Tabor with the rocket bike, if you can come down as well.
Right, number 1 qualifier, Kenneth Holmberg, with still had all sorts of problems, but at least it's better to break the engine to be number 1 qualifier than, you know, be going home.
Oh, yeah.
Taking on Alex Hope. Alex with an awful lot of potential in that car. It's got 4 wheels, but 2 of them are wheelie bars. Anyway, I'm not doing well today, am I? Alex Hope, the CBD Asylum, or Astlum, as it says on the screen, in the cold fire lane. Alex was number 4 qualifier with a 751. Kenneth with a 7.4. However, both these two have the potential to go way quicker than that. Kenneth Holmberg goes red. It will be Alex in the final. Well, Kenneth's out there in front and won 7.53, but with a 62 and a green light, it will be Alex Hope in the final against Very mature. Okay.
Just a bit of fluid on the start line, actually need to get that cleared up.
Oh yeah, there's a little puddle down there, but great shame for Ken. Is such a nice guy, tries so unbelievably hard.
He's had a lot of bad luck over the last few years.
Yeah. So we've got the semi-finals, I think, of Super Street underneath us now. Yep. One of the luckiest men on the property, but he was in the place at the right time. That's Robert Hagblom. He didn't qualify, yet he's in the semi-final against, well, that's going to be a big ask, against Steve Venables. And the other side of the ladder, Morganslund against Rick Stubbins. What is it about Rick? He doesn't run the quickest or fastest, but he's always around in late rounds. Yeah,
he's consistent. You know, you can rely on him. Makes rounds, you know, doesn't set the world on fire performance-wise, but concentrates on getting down the track every time.
Which is what I remember you, obviously we've talked a lot over the years, but racing is all about getting there first. It's all about, you know, if you want to win, you have to concentrate on racing, not just trying to go all out every time, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's about, you know, that's one of the things where, you know, people strive for performance, of course, because we all want to break records and we want to, you know, be top of the pile. But ultimately, you can kill your championship hopes if you try to do that too often when the track isn't up to it, you're not up to it, whatever. So I've always said that the more consistent you can be, obviously the better. But in actual fact, it's very difficult to be consistent and a record breaker at the same time.
Yeah. Because by nature of it, if you're on the edge, i.e. going that fast, something's going to happen. Something's got to give.
Yeah. So, great job anyway. Good riding from Rick.
Yeah. You bet. And
you know, he's done a great job to get here.
So when you said that about the fact that you have sold the bike but you haven't necessarily retired, what would sucker you back in? Your wife trying to get you out of the house a bit more again?
No, she'd like me to cut the lawn more often.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
No, I really actually don't know. I mean, I've got into classic road race bikes. Would you believe something strange? So,
what, actually racing them or collecting them? I know you've got.
To be honest, it's more parading than racing them. Although, when you get some of the old ex-racers on them, which I'm not, you know, they're off. You know, they want to race still. So I'm going to Spa soon for the Riders Classics event there, which is a huge classic road race event.
Okay.
And
you're competing in, yeah?
It's late Sunday afternoon. I'm here with Liam Jones, who qualified second in Top Fuel with a 390 out of 312. A crazy speed. Yeah, you look like you just got out of the car. Your hair is all over the place. It's getting windy around here. Yeah, how was today for you?
It was absolutely incredible. I mean, like, we got a PB time-wise, but this is speed, man. It was like 312.2 mile an hour, and it felt so much quicker than yesterday. It was just...
And we've still kind of got a tailwind, and they say a tailwind is not actually good for a top fueler.
No, I mean, it likes to drag, do you know what I mean? So it likes to really have to punch against it, so... They've got 10,000 horsepower in nowadays.
Yeah, so you're just smashing through it anyway. Do you know who you're facing in eliminations tomorrow?
Yeah, I believe we've got Stefan Gunnarsson, so it'll be a good race.
That will be. I think I know where my money's going. Just going to hold on for a second. You can just cut the middle, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so it's England versus Sweden in round number 1 of eliminations on Bank Holiday Monday. Hopefully you're going to come and join us. Tickets are available on the gate. Come and support the England driver, Liam Jones. Oh, and I must say, don't forget, TFJ Motorsport on Facebook.
Yep.
And obviously, what's your hashtag that you're using this weekend with a new sponsor?
Hashtag join the CBD Asylum. So,
there you go.
Yep.
Join the CBD. If only I was as big as Eddie Hall, I could go, oosh!
Never been in before, where your team are actually out there with what is or was your bike, you know, doing what you would normally be doing.
Yeah, as I said, it's a strange feeling. I mean, it's...
Just slightly backtrack.
Yeah.
So what was the show that you did? You just
I
did like burnouts and
just
stuff?
run down the strip as fast as I could. But I mean, obviously, it was quite difficult. There wasn't really any track prep as such. So, and also, it was difficult getting nitromethane out there. Of course, we couldn't fly it or ship it, so we had to find some way of getting nitro there.
In India?
Yeah. And they didn't make it there. They make lots of chemicals. They don't make nitro. It's still only made in America and China at that point. Anyway, they got some. I don't know how, but you know, it was
Didn't
there, a big
ask,
drum of
yeah,
it.
exactly.
So, no, it was cool, really cool, and we had a great time, and we were treated very well. Afterwards, most of us flew home. Martin Brookman, my crewman, he had the luxury of then going on a calendar shoot with all these Indian models with the bike.
With the bike,
yeah.
Not
so
just
he stayed there. Well, he stayed there, and he went. And so he hung out with all these pretty things, and
so
yeah,
he was.
good time.
The trip was that was the sweetener for him then. Going on the
well,
trip,
no, it
Something
wasn't.
like that.
I didn't know that was going to happen, but anyway.
So how long was the whole trip? I mean, was it just about? Did you do that for just like? Did you turn up and you just did that for a couple of days?
No, well, yeah, we had about 3 days each side as well to, check out the local, sightseeing and everything else. And
so how long were you there? So again, how long were you there for?
I think it was about a week and a half for that trip. And then I went back because at the time Aston Martin were also sponsored by Gulf, the Le Mans team. So a couple of years later, went back again with their drivers, and we did various media stuff out there. That was pretty good fun. And one of the locals lent me his Hayabusa, so I did burnouts and stuff on that, which was very kind of him because there's such huge taxes there. A Hayabusa in the UK, brand new, is about 10 to 15,000 pounds. Say out there, it's about 100,000 pounds, and of course they only get paid a fraction of what we get paid. So I mean, you have to be a rich guy to own a superbike out there.
So I guess I remember seeing the articles, and also you. The one abiding memory I've got is of I think it was a newspaper article. You with your hands together praying.
Oh, namaste, yeah, doing the traditional greeting when you meet someone for the first, not the first time, someone you know or you respect. Yeah, I've still got that. It's quite a cool picture.
I don't really want to say this, but back to the racing. Yeah. Anyway, that was almost like we just said, surreal.
It was strange, but great.
But a really good experience as a result of racing and being successful.
Yeah, we've been very lucky. We've been to some great places.
Good stuff. Back to Super Street Bike. Steve Venables and Robert Haglund. Steve Venables in the coalfire lane. Robert Haglund in the Autoglym lane from Sweden. Well, Steve's out in front already, 123 to 60. Trying to keep the bike upright, 693. 193, and he was trying. That didn't look like a lot of fun. It looked like it was trying to push itself to the left all the time, and Steve's trying to hang on to it. 770, Robert Haglund checks out, but still had a very, very good weekend. So, waiting in the final is the only 6-second bike so far. However, give it a minute. Rick Stubbins, the Protec Busa in the Autoglym lane, taking on Morganslund for Denmark. Morgan's run 7:02. Rick's been 6:70 a number of times as well. Anybody's race. Rick's off the line by 1/10 of a second. That's how he wins races. Morgans is going to try and run him down. And he has. 7:10. Rick has to back off early. He was ahead at every single increment apart from the one that mattered, the finish line. 7:10, 2:03 for Morganslund. It'll be him and Steve Venables in the final. We can see on the screen, it was only just at the finish line that Morganslund got round him that time. Great racing again in Super Street. We've got Top Methanol coming up now. Ian, I keep wanting to asking you about stories, but we'll have to do it again another day, mate. Thank you very much indeed for coming up. I'm sure you do. So India was probably one of the tame ones then.
Well,
something like that anyway.
We'll talk next time.
Good stuff. We'll see you for the final round. Thanks, Ian.
Right, into the pairing lanes, please. Top Speed Automotive Street Eliminator. Is a good one, actually. We got a shout out for the timing crew, and it's from Sonia Letts. Oh, I wonder who that is. Must be a relation to Kieran on the timing crew, but Sonia's been in touch, and it says a big shout out to the timing crew.
Okay. The timing crew are getting set up for Top Methanol semi-finals. The sole remaining funny car from Germany, Jürgen Nagel, the Classic A US Speed Shop car in the coal-fire lane. He went in the 580s earlier on. However, he's up against Dennis Harbourman. Dennis went low ET of the weekend, 5.30, but much more than that, 274 miles an hour. I think that is by far the fastest speed from a methanol car we've ever seen over here. I know someone's going to fill me in as to what the fastest is in the world for a methanol car, but I know 274 is really, really hauling. Yeah, I know it's pretty close. I'm sure it's about 278 off the top of my head, but whatever it is, Dennis is within, the whole Harbourman team are pretty much within 1% of being the world's best. And for a while, they almost were as well, elapsed time-wise and everything else too. So, Dragster against Funny Car, semi-finals. The sole remaining short car. Jürgen Nagel. Where's today gone? Where's the weekend gone, Colin? It's only Friday morning,
disappearing
isn't it?
very, very rapidly indeed.
Lining Dennis up exactly where he wanted him to be to burn out then. Jürgen Nagel with a Funny Car in the coal-fire lane. Now the thing is, there is a 0.22 second difference on the tree between the Dragsters and the Funny Cars. The Funny Cars get a head start. However, Dennis ran 5.30. If you add 0.22 to that, you don't get 5.81.
Right.
No. So Jürgen Nagel does have his work cut out. However, as we always say, we race him on the racetrack, not on paper. Dennis has been suffering more than anyone in the class from tyre shake. And the track conditions have changed again due to the warmth in the air from round 1 to round 2. 20 past 3 on a beautiful Monday afternoon in the summer in England. It's got to be warm. It's got to be warm. Dick's only got a t-shirt on.
I've been quite busy. I'll explain you later.
I'm not packing for once.
No.
So Jürgen Nagel going to be going 0.22 of a second in front of the Dragster of Dennis. This for a place in the final. Here we go. Dennis with a lot of pedalling going on, but he's still way out there in front. 5.39 at 2.69, 6.15 for Jürgen Nagel. They were pretty even off the start line, but Dennis with a lot of tyre shake again and around about 100 foot out. Still went 5.39 though, nearly 2.70. Thank you very much indeed, Simon. Fastest blown Alki mile an hour, Joey Severance, 2.81. That's all right, we'll give him a push in the final. That's still pretty stout stuff though, to be honest with you, from the Harbourmans. Right, the next race, it's one Harbourman in the final, that's Dennis. Can they make it two? However, they've got to get round Johnny Lag and that pesky A fuel car. Now Johnny is really good on the tree. They've been running low 540s all weekend, and Timo has been stuck in the 540s most of the time. But in complete fairness to Timo, he's got the number 1 on the car, and he is renowned for being very, very sharp on the lights as well.
We had some stress in the Harbourman pits between rounds.
Okay.
Serviced the car and wanted to start it up again, and then it wouldn't fire.
It wouldn't fire?
Oh, no. Well, let's change the coil.
Well, they've obviously got that solved.
Yeah, well, changed the coil, didn't fire.
Oh.
Changed the punch box, then it would start, but they lost 8 degrees of ignition. So, and I don't know why.
Well, obviously neither do they. So, yeah. Thank you, Dick.
Yeah, and they're not using a crank trigger.
All the behind-the-scenes stuff that goes on.
Yeah. So it was quite stressful there.
Well, so obviously they've made it down, but when you say they're not using a crank trigger, what difference does that make to what they're doing?
With a crank trigger you can, it reaches straight from the crank, And if you use that, you can use all kinds of timers to take out ignition or even add some ignition. And if you run it straight from on the magneto, then you cannot affect the moment to fire.
Okay.
So you can have no delays then.
So Timo is a little bit of a disadvantage compared to usual.
Or this is the key.
Sorry?
Or this is just the key.
Or you never know, in just a minute they may be glad that they didn't have everything working properly. But we'll just have to wait and see. Johnny Lag from Sweden, that big bad A-Fuel car. Christian Hansen brings him into stage. He's in the Auto Glimlane Coldfire side of the racetrack from Germany. An all-Harborman final or a Sweden versus Germany final. Here we go.
Oh.
Dropping cylinders
Johnny's
for Johnny
behind
Lag.
him.
Timo gets there, 5:31. Look at that with a drop cylinder. Johnny Lag still goes 5:57, but Timo with his quickest run of the weekend. Never underestimate the Harbormans. They just do that to sucker people in, you know that.
Yeah.
They really, really do. They are very, very good indeed. And I think, honestly, I said this earlier, Werner is one of the world's most experienced tuners with methanol cars.
Yeah. He does it for, I think, about 120 years now.
Something like that. Well, with two cars, you get double the amount of experience, don't you? But there we go. So it will be numbers 1 and 2 last year in the final. Dennis and Timo, the brothers from Germany. Terrific run that. Johnny Lag was right with him on the start line. Look at that 60 foot for Timo, 0.87. That is world class again.
And still with tire shake.
FIA Pro Mod semi-final. So everyone was nervous at round 1. How are they feeling now?
Yeah, now the weather is the weather is perfect, but the air is getting worse again.
Okay, because
so
it's getting
that's
warmer.
that's the next struggle.
It is just one struggle after the other, isn't it?
Yeah. It's not
always
easy.
a moving
Never
target.
easy.
Yeah. Performance advantage from the last round goes to Magnus Pettersson in the old 51 team with Jimmy Olin 591 to Yanni Eriksson 6 flat. However, Yanni and the team getting more and more data. They're new to Pro Mod as well, aren't they? They ran a Pro stock car for a number of years.
Well, he ran Pro Mod last year.
But it's a lot to learn.
Yeah.
Different way of running it.
I think he only ran in 2 years last year.
And here. He was
here? Oh, okay.
Yeah. He went out in the first round. He ran 6:01. Sorry, he ran in 6:06, I think, off the top of my head in the first round, but got beat. So we knew the car. We knew it's in the car. We know the 5-second run is there for that orange Camaro in the Coldfire lane. So it's one of the Swedes going to be in the final. Basically, David's the only guy from, well, a flat country. Okay, here we go then. So like I said, Yanni Eriksson in that lane earlier today went 6:00. Jimmy Orland went 5:91. However, it wasn't this warm earlier on. Jimmy Orland won the door slammers a week ago. He hasn't been beaten yet so far this season. Then again, it is only May. Here we go. No tyre shake for either of them. It is a horsepower race, and it's going to be Jim. 5:93 takes out Yanni Eriksson's very, very good try over the 6:02. An 06 reaction time to Jim to an 09 for Yanni Eriksson. That was a proper Pro Mod race.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 390 to the 8 to 396 for Yanni Eriksson. Jimmy Orland was quicker at every increment. He will be in the final.
Well, there's the reason that I'm wearing a shirt. David had some issues with the transmission, but he discovered it after he serviced it and warmed it up.
So he had some issues with the. I think he runs a converter, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So, but go on, you say that again.
Yeah,
so
something was wrong with third gear. Okay. So he was in a hurry and asked me to jump in
and help him out.
I've done it before.
a few times, obviously.
Yeah, a few
So
times.
do you think that was? I mean, does he know what's? I mean, he's had lots of shake today. I mean, he was here last weekend, no problem. Up until today, he's just had a non-stop 5-second race car.
Yeah.
Any ideas?
No, the issue is at the end of the first gear. Going from first to second gear.
Some reason
that little
shaking.
spot, and the shake comes in.
So if he can plug it in.
But he made some changes, in transmission and all ignition and fuel settings. So, of course, he has to beat the blue car.
Yeah.
On ET this time.
Mickey Goldquist with the Smurf Blue Camaro from Sweden in the coal-fire lane. We already have one Swede. We could have completely and utterly how Swede it is in the final, side by side. Dave is going to be trying to put a stop to that. That's his young lady, funny enough, who is Swedish, puts him in state in the Autoglim lane. And here comes Mickey. Way steady. Nice high shake for Dave, and he keeps it off the centre line. Mickey, I think he's just out in front. He is 592 to Dave's 601.
Yeah,
Dave was off the
too
start
bad.
line first, but Mickey had gone past him by 60 foot. 390 to the 8th mile for Mickey Goldquist, 395 for David Venter. Two really good side-by-side runs, and it will be Jimmy Orland with lane choice in the final. Stick around for that.
Well done.
Well, the thing is, those two are really
That's
good
too
friends,
bad.
and they just
But
rib each other all the time.
It
So
was another good run from David.
It was.
Yeah, missed some power.
just not quite what he wanted.
No.
But there we go. Still a good effort.
Yeah, how about this? Live feed. Paul Watson says to you, Mr. Dick Costa, big shout out to Dick Costa for trying to help my old car Ben Bridges, who's had some problems. So
thank you.
This is a thank you though. Everybody's getting mentions today, so one there for you.
Very nice.
A couple of fantastic races, Pro Mod semis. I know you probably have to shoot
Yep.
off shortly, don't you? You're going to miss it.
I'm up. Yeah, I have,
Oh,
but
no.
Yeah. I will
Well, Jimmy
surely
won.
put it on
There
in
you
the
go.
car.
I'll tell you now, Jimmy won. That was it.
Ah, okay. Keep you to that. See you later, guys.
Yeah, thanks ever so much for your help as always, Dick. Very much appreciated. Have a good trip home, mate.
Okay, next up, the jet cars are coming up one by one. We got Super Gas. Can we have you into the pairing lanes, please? We're going to get some sportsman racing done. But before that, we got two jet cars, and we have the crazy Frenchman himself, Mr. Eric Taboul, on the rocket bike.
That's the one.
He's not far away either. Just as we get ready for the jet cars, just going to take just a fractional breather for a moment. A couple of adverts from Nitro FM. We'll take it back in a moment.
Draper Tools are the tool supplier choice at Santa Pod Raceway. To be a winner, you have to trust your mechanic, and your mechanic has to trust his tools. For nearly 100 years, Draper has supplied quality tools and accessories to the professional mechanic. From spanners to hammers, sockets to screwdrivers, Draper Tools have over 10,000 fully guaranteed products to suit every task, and are proud to be tool supplier of choice for Santa Pod Raceway. But don't take our word for it. Our many awards from Auto Express, Car Mechanics, Practical Classics, and many other trade and consumer magazines prove we have the quality to get the job done. Visit draper.co.uk for the full picture and win 2 tickets for a return visit to the pod, courtesy of Draper Tools. Audio Solutions take the strain. Whether it's audio, PA lighting, or radio services you need, AMP Audio Solutions can supply all the equipment and friendly, experienced staff to operate it. To discuss your requirements, contact us at www.amaudiosolutions.com.uk or telephone 0800-988-7326. AMP Audio Solutions, your advanced service provider. We record, we stream, we broadcast anything live on your website. We are on YouTube, Twitter, or speak by your studio. We provide your experience at every moment and bring it to your audience. Your confident generation and distribution in media. For more information, visit www.pc.me.
Right, we are back, and it is jet car time. It is, first of all, what on earth is that?
That's what I was just thinking.
Oh, I've never seen that before. We're looking at something rather bizarre out the back window.
They've got to be
actually.
wacky races.
Yeah.
They're also going to get blown off their silks, I think, very shortly if they're not careful.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry folks, on the webcam and on the live TV broadcast through the Facebook page or anywhere else you can't see what we just saw, but it was quite amusing. Steve Cannell says, like in the commentary. Yeah, I'll agree with the other side on that.
Just on the day you need to be a bit warmer sometimes, don't you?
Yeah.
Tailwind's back.
So Martin Hill's finished all of his pops and his bangs and now he's going to go for it with Fire Force 5, the Jet Dragster.
Had 5.19 earlier today. Here we go. .97, 60 foot. 5.22 at 308 miles an hour. Another storming run for Martin in the Fire Force Jet. 8th mile, 358 at 228 miles an hour. That car just piles on the speed in the back half of the racetrack. Okay, we've got one more jet car to go. We've got Eric with a rocket bike, and then we're on with sportsman eliminations before we set up all our pro finals. Give them a huge cheer, folks. That's Martin Hill's team with Fire Force. Roger Goring with Firestorm down here again. Absolutely gorgeous centre drive jet funny car. Right, Colin?
Yeah, I'm just
seeing where we are in the order.
Yeah, but as you say, all of the pro classes are through to finals. We have Pro ET quarters coming up. Street Eliminator, they got their semis and obviously finals to go. Junior Dragster at quarter-final stage. Super Comp again at quarters. Super Gas at quarters. Super Pro, they've done their quarters, so they are at semi-final stage. Super Street quarter-finals. Junior Bike Cup semi-final. So yeah, we're getting through it.
So hopefully the issue from earlier obviously solved for Roger Goring. Go on, Colin, what do you know?
Right, into the pairing lanes, please. A Super Street car and a Junior Dragster, please. Super Street car and a Junior Dragster. If you could come into the pairing lanes, please.
Well, Matt Moxon, thank you very much indeed. Matt, the Spitfire that did the display was a PR19 with a Griffin engine. I do apologise, I missed all of that. Obviously, you sent that at the right time. I just wasn't paying attention.
Oh,
Apologies.
no, but it was pretty full on with stuff on the racetrack.
I was going to say, we were in the middle
in.
of Super Street Bike, I think, at the time, or something similar. Okay, Roger Goring. Absolutely show quality, this car. Okay, when Helen gives a thumbs up, you know let's get warm again. Time all the way through the quarter mile as well. Beautiful run, 6:34
nice.
to 160 miles an hour for the funny car that time. He's very consistent.
Very nice. Remember last time he came down the start line, it just left the line and
Give him a cheer again,
instantly
folks.
cut out.
That's Helen and the team going to get Roger up the top end. He should enter that in Super Pro, actually. Nice and consistent. Oh, from Tog, yeah, we say that. Hello to Kai Plathan and the missus, Otto and Nemo in Finland as well. Is that right? Yeah. Hi to Kai and the missus and Otto and Nemo in Finland. So thank you for tuning in. Hope you're having a good time watching. However, we are on with the quickest and fastest thing on two wheels in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a rapturous Santapod welcome to Mr. Eric Tabou. Now, Eric's had quite a bit of fun this weekend, shall we say. First run back on Saturday, no problems at all, straight as a string, all good. The second run yesterday, bit of a crosswind. It didn't catch him out, that's why he was in the left-hand lane, just in case something like that happened, and it did. He took out the 1,000-foot blocks. However, Eric is made of stern stuff, and he was absolutely okay. Strapping on his crash helmet, and what you see with his crew on behind it is a rocket bike. What you just saw was a jet car, which is a turbine. This is a rocket, which is basically a couple of tanks, a big chemical reaction, and a massive expansion in gas that gets pushed out of the two, from those cylinders, out of the two pipes either side of the rear wheel, and that's what sends Eric on his way to those unbelievable times and speeds. And Eric will be doing his pre-flight checks and pre-flight routine. Just limbers up, gets his gloves on, gets himself ready to go. He does do quite a few aerobic exercises in his build-up to running the bike. His personal best elapsed time-wise and speed-wise down in the 5.1s over 280 miles an hour. He does always say that this bike has thousands of horsepower, i.e. way more than he can probably use. He does have to keep it to a sensible level so that it does stay on terra firma, to be honest with you. One day, maybe Eric will go for a 4-second run. He's been very, very close. Like I said, he's been 5.1s before. He normally runs down in the low 5-second zone, anywhere between sort of 250 and 280 miles an hour, depending on how the bike is set up. And, well, one day we'll see, really see what Eric can do. However, obviously there's a fine balance between running really fast and never being able to run again. You all right, Colin? You need anyone into the lanes, or you're all right? Okay, so what Eric will be doing, he has a couple of gauges in front of his eyes, and he will move some levers and start the chemical reaction. His crew guy, with that fireproof beret, pushes him back in behind the start line into the water box. And the reason for that is this bike uses hydrogen peroxide as fuel. It's very, very highly concentrated, not like the stuff you use to bleach your hair with. It is incredibly corrosive, and if any does drip out, we much prefer it drips out way out the way of the racing service. So Eric very kindly takes it all the way back underneath the tower to do his first couple of pops and bangs. The good thing about this bike that Eric's got as well is that being the fact it isn't wheel driven, he does run it on quite a few airfields and all sorts of things. He's run it at various places around France. I know he's run it in Hungary and even in the States as well, when he nearly ran out of real estate in Bradenton one time. Go on, Colin.
Right, this time I have got a couple of classes to call,
That's
actually.
all
Pro ET quarter-final, can you come down into the lanes, please? And also the FIM Junior Drag Bikes, can you come down for your semi-finals, please?
Yeah, we're going to be pushing through the sportsman racing thick and fast very shortly. We're at the finals for pro sessions. We're slightly behind time schedule, however, it's not better than the last few days, isn't it, really, to be honest with you?
Yeah.
So Eric moves himself forward. You can see a little bit of steam coming out the back of the bike. A little bit more steam. Just building up that chemical reaction, ready for another run. We are moments away from witnessing, well, just one of the most unbelievable vehicles on the planet. Eric, nearly ready to go. Give us a thumbs up in a couple of moments' time, and then we will do the countdown. Please join in. Here we go, folks. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Straight as a string all the way through for Eric this time. 5:28. 279 miles an hour. Eric Tabor with one of the quickest and fastest runs he's made in a long while. Nearly 280 as well. He was 0.99 to 60 foot, which is actually slightly slow for that thing. 3.58 at 230 to the 8th mile, and then blasting out the back door, literally 5:28, 279. Okay, little bit of a track sweep just to get any residue from the rocket left off the start line. We're on with Sportsman Eliminations. Please do not go anywhere. Hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day, and you're having as much fun as we are bringing it to you. Nitro FM for a few moments, then back to racing.
If you want a special reminder of your time here at Santapod, then head on over to the Santapod shops and grab yourself a souvenir. We have a huge range of merchandise, including clothing, toys and gifts, plus ear defenders and other essentials for your visit. You'll love our 2018 championship range, so grab it while you can. Visit any of our outlets located on site. If you run out of time or need an extra item, then browse our shop from home. Visit santapodshop.com for more great deals and promotions.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story, and I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.